Well, there goes the Daverhood. Good morning, everybody, and welcome. Welcome live on this Saturday morning on June 18th, 2 days after Bloomsday, 2 days after my darling and adorable wife Joyce's birthday. Happy post-birthday to you, hon. How you doing? How does it feel to be...
Mr. Curtsy dead, save a penny for the old guy. I'm just going to quote T.S. Eliot about that.
Okay, yeah, just going to quote T.S. Eliot all day on...
Because that's how I roll.
On this episode of the program. I'm Dave Lefkowitz, by the way. The program is Dave's Gone By. That's why we call it the Daverhood. Dave's Gone By. Daverhood. Believe it or not. Well, or maybe you can believe it, because what better else do I have to do with my life? This is the 854th episode of the show.
It's crazy.
I mean, when you think back on it, we are only July, August, about 4 months away from having done this program for 20 years.
It's amazing.
Week after week after week, with some vacation weeks here and there. And there was one year, when we were kind of between places and stuff, where I probably did only about 8 shows for the whole year. So that kind of broke our streak, if you will. But still, and I still do like the streak.
Didn't you still do the shows in your head like you did them mentally? You just didn't do it.
Well, I am not on the air.
Yeah.
When I'm not doing this show for 3.5 hours on Saturday mornings, I'm still living my show in my head.
Of course.
I remember back in film school, back when I was going to NYU 35 years ago.
Yeah.
And there was a kid who said, and he thought he was unique in this. That's what you find out in college. Nobody's unique. Nobody really is that special, except not 1 in 10,000, not 1 in 100,000, but really 1 in 2 million is special. But everybody else is just all the same idiots coming into college. And there was this guy who said, when I go around and I'm living my life and I'm going to the market and I'm on, going for a plane in an airport or working or whatever, I always feel like I'm in a movie. I also feel like there's a camera on me all the time that's sort of surveying me and looking at the angles and the scene and what I'm doing and studying my character. And I was like, oh, yeah, so basically you're me. Because anybody who's in the creative field who does this sort of thing, you're in that mode. You feel like, I'm in my own movie. And then you get that whole metaphysical thing of, well, is there a reality? Or is it just everybody's and everybody else's dream? Ooh.
There's a socially constructed
Louder, yeah.
There's a socially constructed reality.
Well, why couldn't they have socially constructed my reality like a porn film? Why does my reality have to be like go to a low-paying, half-decent job, live in a place in my mother's house?
Because you're
Jewish?
Because you're
middle-aged, white, what? No, talk to me.
Yeah.
Jewish there. No, but it's like, if we all construct our own realities, or if everybody's reality is specifically their own, why isn't my reality like Willy Wonka's factory?
You could make it whatever you want, Bubba.
I can't.
Yes, you can. Just change it up.
How do I change this to like suddenly have a giant pool filled with cool chocolate fudge to dip in?
You just become delusional. You just lose base with reality. You don't even need to touch base with reality.
Okay, I'm kind of all right. Delusional. I guess dreams are what keep us there. Dreams are the delusions that keep us going for the other 16 hours a day.
Yeah.
I was literally just watching the latest Bill Maher clip where he goes off on something. Love Bill Maher. And he was saying, what this has to do with dreams or delusions. So there was a whole big kerfuffle in the Washington Post this past week where this writer that they've had for a few years, young, what's the millennial generation writer, woman? And so, she's on Twitter and she's tweeting and there's all these staffers. And they also, they're 30 years younger than I am. They've got the jobs I should have had 35 years ago.
Is it personal tweeting or like professional?
So I didn't get the thing of whether the guy, the other writer there tweeted using his official Washington Post.
Yeah, because there's a difference.
Yeah, oh yeah, there
and
is.
You can say like RT are my own, which means retweets are my own. Like a lot of people on Twitter will say this is separate from my job. You have to if you're gonna.
Well, I don't know if he did. I honestly I didn't look that deeply into it. Of retweeting a joke that he didn't, I think, even write. But it was a joke. I'm probably miswording it, but this male writer, probably in his 20s, maybe early 30s, retweeting a joke is 90% of relationships is figuring out which bi your girlfriend is, sexual or polar.
Oh my god!
Which is funny.
Oh my,
it's a funny joke.
It's not funny.
Yeah. Well, if I wording it right, it would have been funny. Okay.
Making fun of mental illness and gender fluidity is not funny anymore.
Well, there you go. So now you're siding with this woman who also worked at the Washington Post, who tweeted and saying, "How dare these kinds of jokes be tweeted within the framework of the people that we're working with."
It matters if it's the official or non-official, and if it's your non-official Twitter, it should just be your friends. It shouldn't be everybody.
Well, if it's your official, that is an approach. That's an internal corporate thing. That's like going to, first of all, your colleague directly, or maybe your direct supervisor, and saying this doesn't belong on an official Washington Post
Actually,
tweet.
It's a form of sexual harassment if you think of it, right? Because that's what sexual harassment is when you feel harassed. If you feel harassed by your gender or by your... It's an
Yeah, but
ADA
what kind of, and
violation.
I hate to use this Republican word, but what kind of snowflake looks like a joke?
It's an ADA violation. I mean, that's like, I wouldn't, on an official website?
I mean, if it's an official tweet website, I don't know. It might be this guy who is a writer. I mean, when you work for an establishment, even your personal life or your own personal stuff does come under view.
Well,
if you're being hired by a company, they're going to look at your personal Facebook and Twitter.
Their contract? You have to go back and say what the contract says.
Yeah. Well, anyway, so she complains. And she, publicly, not just to men, she complains with her own tweets, saying this is a whatever, and the guy is forced to make an apology. All right, I'm sorry if this tweet was inappropriate or found offensive, yada yada, and he's still, this guy, for retweeting this joke, is suspended without pay for a month.
So he violated some of the norms of whatever the company had too. There was internal norms.
There were some whatever he did. I mean, being forced to apologize even galls me a little bit. If it was his own personal Twitter.
I don't think so.
If it was the Post's Twitter, I get it. If it was just his own Twitter and he happens to write for the Washington Post, sorry, no. Okay, and to be suspended without pay yet for a month for that, I'm surprised he didn't sue.
He violated it, so it was something that he signed a contract saying you can't do X, Y, and Z, and he did. That's the deal.
But now this woman feels empowered, and she starts just bomb tweeting everybody in the company publicly of how terrible the Washington Post is and how inequitable they are and what this and that. And now she violates all their terms. They fired her.
Oh my God.
And then something to the story. And I mean, there's so much wrong in this story, and Mark pointed some of it out. But I'll go even further. That when Kobe Bryant was killed, I guess it was like 2 years ago. Now, how do you feel about this? Remember Kobe Bryant, who was a basketball player, very famous.
Yeah.
I give a shit, but he died in some plane accident or helicopter, whatever he died in. Chasing a basketball, he fell off a cliff. Whatever killed Kobe Bryant. And a few hours after his death, this woman tweeted about reminding people that he had sexual assault charges against him. Because all these people were saying, oh my God, oh wow, Kobe Bryant, he's dead, it's a tragedy, he was such a role model, he was such a great hero to the African American community, and what a basketball player, greatest since Michael Jordan. And she was like the one who kind of went in there and said, by the way, I know he's dead, but, he kind of did X and X and X to a woman. And she got in trouble for that. And I'm like, what the hell? If she's telling the truth.
Yeah, I think it's very complicated.
It is, well, I think they're making it more complicated and more. She shouldn't have gotten in trouble for reminding the world that a seeming superstar athlete hero had feet of clay and and perhaps a dick of fire.
No,
And
but I think
yeah,
there must be some norm. There must be some. They must have violated some norm because you can't just fire somebody at will. Like there must have been something in a contract, or there must have been something somewhere that said if you're part of a Facebook group, the a couple I belong to, if you do X, Y, and Z, you will be
yeah.
dismissed.
Well, she wasn't fired. She got in trouble.
Yeah, but you'll be
for that.
dismissed from the group. So
Yeah.
every company says like when I worked for the consulted for the nonprofit, they're like you can't do the X,
Yeah,
all
no.
these things.
I mean,
And-
she whatever
Yeah.
unknowingly she violated, or she just it was considered in bad taste what she did, unless commenting. If you're writing for the Washington Post and you comment on a news story, subjectively that may be against company policy. It might be, and she got into crap for it, even though people who may have tweeted at the same time, "Oh, what a shame we've lost this great ball player," probably didn't get in trouble at all, even though that's just as subjective.
Yeah.
So, but and the kicker on it all, and then the thing Mark didn't mention was that years earlier, what is making this woman tick? She was sexually assaulted, so she's going to be triggered by everything she reads by a man that is just a little off center or just a little bit of a joke or anything that kind of pinpoints his being male, dominant, physical, sexual, heterosexual, and it's just going to make a spring go off in her head and go,
No,
offended.
I think that's idiotic. It's too simplistic. That's like a one cause and effect. That's stupid.
I don't think so. I think she was triggered. I think the reason she got fired last week was she went off on everything in the company publicly. She started tweeting about, this person did this and you did that, and how come you said this about this, and all these things that you kind of keep internal, like having drinks with your coworker friends in a bar at 11 o'clock at night on Friday night, that you and then you write in a memo.
What it tells me is that culture of that environment is pretty bad.
It's messed up, obviously.
I mean, we had a friend who worked for the news, the Daily News, and we know what the paper world is like, right? So,
Right, yeah.
I mean, I think that, I think it points to me, it says there's bigger problems within that organization.
Oh,
And they need some retraining or something. There's like...
but please, not sensitivity training.
No, if they're in a news organization, they should know how to, what's appropriate.
They should go over the statutes of their...
profession.
Yeah, well, no, the thing they sign when they get that workbook or your first week,
Yes.
and when nobody reads, and so and here's a 180-page thing of what you can and can't do here. We're going to actually go over it.
Yeah. Or just say, like, here are the...
Well,
I'm
yeah.
on my computer. Here's the things, like... It's just, like, lax. I mean, you gotta... It's,
Well, no,
come on.
the thing is,
Yeah.
she was fired. So now she's ex-lax.
Oh, there's gonna be a lawsuit.
So she's running.
No, there's gonna be a lawsuit.
Of course there's going to be a lawsuit. But he should sue her. She should sue the Post.
You don't know. I think you need a labor lawyer who can say what were the terms of the agreement.
Right.
And the lawyer can go in and say, when you signed your contract, because when you sign a contract for a news organization, it says stuff. In
Right.
that contract, it probably says da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da, and you go back to the contract, and whoever violated the contract is the
Yeah.
one who's
I
in
mean,
trouble.
I think it would be the most funny thing in the world. It would be unbelievable. I would love to see the court case on this. Do you know who also...
It's International Picnic Day.
Do you know who also lost a job this week?
Who?
This is wonder. I mean, it's...
Paul Slosher?
No. Oh, and thank you for reminding me I have to play that. No. There was a person... Now, one of the wonderful things about this week, unfortunately I wasn't there, I didn't see it, but Paul McCartney was playing in the Meadowlands, or whatever they call it, the Jersey Stadium, and it was his 80th birthday, and John Bon Jovi was, I don't care about John Bon Jovi, but Springsteen joined them on stage and sang happy birthday. They sang, freaking Paul McCartney, yay, 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 yay New York, yay Paul McCartney.
Yeah.
That's one concert.
Yeah.
There was another concert that was supposed to take place.
Yeah.
It was either in New York or New Jersey or or somewhere, I think, in the tri-state area, a folk pop singer. Sold out, not a big hall. We're not talking about the Meadowlands. We're talking about maybe 200, 300 seats. No, but a folky place, probably maybe a little lower scale than the Bottom Line, if anybody remembers that. Smaller than Town Hall. Like, a music-y place, like the Moxie in friggin' Greeley or somewhere like that. And
what was the one by me in 106th Street?
Oh, hell no.
Blue Note? It wasn't Blue Note.
No, Blue Note was downtown.
No, it was a small music, like a storefront, but it was nice.
Something like that, right? Sold out. And at the very last minute, they cancel the performer. They cancel him. They cancel him.
Wait, who canceled the club?
The club. The club said, you know what? No. Who do you think the performer was? Folk singer-ish. Songwriter.
Bob Dylan?
No. You've heard of him, but perhaps not in a musical way.
Tom Waits?
Oh, God, no, not Tom Waits, no.
I don't know.
So, no. John Hinckley Jr.
I thought they said, I just saw a thing about him. He's painting.
He's painting. He's been songwriting. He was songwriting in prison.
Really?
This is the man, by the way, who shot. He didn't just try to shoot. He shot President Reagan.
And he hurt a lot of other people.
Brady, right?
Yeah. Didn't he make him a paraplegic?
Right, and he winged the Secret Service guy. I mean, yes.
He did some serious damage.
Now, granted, this is, 40 years, when was Reagan president? 80 to 88?
Yeah.
So, 90, 2020, 40 years ago. He has been out of prison for, a couple of months, not that long. He was released, no recognizance. In other words, he's served his time. He's a free man, even though he shot the president of the United. Can you imagine, like Sirhan, getting out of prison, or Oswald never make it to. The thought of the guys who shot the Pope. I mean, yes, I believe in a certain democratization that my life is just as important, and not more or less important than anybody else's. So, on some great metaphysical scale, I am not more important than Steven Spielberg or, former President Obama, or any, if somebody shoots either of us, it is an equal crime. And yet, there's something just a little bit more unequal if you kill a head of state and throw the country into turmoil. That's a thing. If you kill me.
Isn't it treason or some kind of? It's treason.
Yeah, it's everything.
Yeah, it's treason.
Now, granted, I do believe that if you kill me, or try to kill me because I'm me, you should be hung from the highest tree, but tortured first. Okay, because it's me, right? Now, maybe you watching at home, I don't know you. Life imprisonment, no parole. There's no offense, but to me, I'm more important than you. But I know metaphysically I'm not in the great general sense of things. But a president? So Hinckley Jr. he was on work release for a while. He has a YouTube video channel where he's been, I know you're all running to it right now, where he's been playing his songs and singing with his acoustic guitar, not untalented, but not exactly talented. John Hinckley, so he gets booked. He gets booked, and people are just, of course, they're going to be curious. If Charles Manson had been let out of prison, Charles Manson, who, by the way, never physically shot at or never personally killed anybody, but if they had let him out of prison at some point, and he had booked himself, or he had gotten some kind of crazy, maybe the OJ lawyers would have booked him and managed him and taken him around to places, he could theoretically sell out Alice Tully Hall. Just him and a guitar and maybe two or three of his ladies on work release for harmony. right? Like on Squeaky Fromm, which is still just, have him out there. It's a little 90 minutes with just him and a guitar gets a little dull after 70 minutes. Even though you're kind of like, does he still have the swastika? When they should have video monitors, we just want to look at his forehead, right? But imagine that he would because the curiosity of Manson, who had more actual musical talent than John Hinckley Jr., could probably do a lucrative tour had circumstances of his imprisonment and death and mad personality changed. Hinckley is supposedly healed and cured and normal now after 40 years, because 40 years in our prison system is really going to make a person perfectly all right. But they canceled him, saying this is not the kind of person that we feel should be playing in our club. So I don't know if I were. They booked him, unless it's one of those things where he booked the thing. Yeah, well, it was 40 years ago. Nobody knows history. 20-year-olds who book for 25-year-old millennial people, they don't know what's a John Hinckley. They may remember, oh, Reagan was a president? Oh, yeah, right?
That's interesting. You think they just didn't know?
I don't know. I mean, his name is not, it's not like an unbelievably weird name like Lee Harvey Oswald or Sirhan. So nice to have name him twice. It's John Hinckley. John Hinckley. Okay, guy named John Hinckley's got a guitar. And he's selling very well.
Oh, wow.
And then they watch his YouTube videos and it's like, what's the fuss? And then they do a little more Googling and it's like, that can't be. Oh shit. So they canceled. But if you were John Hinckley Jr., right? A free man, a man who has served his time, probably is never going to be allowed to vote. I have my own thoughts on that. But do you sue? Do you go to, the company with a lawyer, if you can find, well, I'm sure he knows lawyers, and say, hey, you don't have the right to do this to me because you don't like some little mistake I made when I was in my, late 20s. I mean, how do you feel about that?
I find that really suspicious. Like, why would you?
But while we're on the subject, again, it's what always gets me, what always angers me is the hypocrisy thing of, okay, what a joke, what a ridiculous thing that John Hinckley Jr. was even allowed out of prison in his lifetime, for one thing. If the president had died, forget it. But since Reagan lived, Matthew Brady not so well, but since, is it Matthew Brady?
No.
That was the photographer from the Civil War.
No, it's Thomas Brady.
Something like that, yeah. He does his sentence, he goes out, and he can do what he can do, or to some extent, what he'll be allowed to do by a society that does have some level of memory of history. Meanwhile, and not on the same level at all, don't forget, like 10, 15 years ago, Mike Tyson did a show on Broadway.
Really?
Yeah. It was a one-man kind of a thing about his life, and I didn't see it. But I would have seen it, right? Now, Mike Tyson is of course, a fighter, one of the great fighters of 20th century, and he's in a ring. He knows the rules of what you are and are not supposed to do in a boxing ring, and he bites the guy's ear, part of it clean off. And it's like blood in his mouth, his ear in the ring. And he does this. And it's like, oh, come to Broadway. Broadway embraces you, right? Worse than that, because, okay, you're in that mode of fighter, animal in a cage, fighting your way. He also beat the shit out of his girlfriends. If you want to talk about sexual assault, if you want to talk about battery and abusive spouse or abusive partner, I mean, his picture's in the dictionary under that. And imagine you're Robin Givens or whoever the hell it was, you're being beaten not just by a man, but by the best boxer in America. A guy who can kill someone with a punch with a glove on his hand. And I assume he did not put on a boxing glove to wallop Robin Givens or whoever else he was with. And yet, he's got that cute voice with the lisp, so let's put him on Broadway. Maybe the gay people will think he's gay and welcome him. And he's a tall, muscular black man, so that will appeal to like this huge core Broadway audience. So, we don't laugh at that. We didn't sit there thinking, is it really appropriate? And again, this was before kind of the Me Too woke movement. This is over a decade ago. But is it really appropriate to put this guy in the spotlight on a Broadway stage and have him talk about his life and kind of be like, oops, sometimes I lost my head a little bit. I said, yeah.
Talk about it like that?
Well, you know how Mike Tyson talks.
No, I mean, did he talk about the incident?
I don't know. I didn't see the show. We could probably watch. I'm sure Spike Lee filmed it. I'm sure it's available to watch somewhere. But that level, this idea of firing Charlie Rose and firing whoever, Garrison Keillor, and trashing Al Franken's career for 5 years because of incidents, minor or major, that have nothing to do, and we're not even close to that level. And meanwhile, taking a man who has inflicted violence on other people, male and female, beyond the bounds of the violence that a boxer and a fighter should be inflicting, and that we would accept from him, and saying, hey, Niederlander, Lunfontaine, Palace, Marquis, take your pick. You got it for 2 weeks. Barry Manilow can barely fill 2 weeks now, and he never heard any. Although maybe Harmony will be coming to Broadway, so that'd be very cool. Anyway, I don't know where I'm going with that. I'm Dave Lefkowitz. You're watching the 854th episode of the Dave's Gone By Facebookio Podcastio Programmio of the Stream. We're calling. I haven't even said what we're doing today, because this is the kind of show that it is. But please notice that we're nicknaming the show, or the title of this episode is Live Aid. Live Aid. Get it? Of course you don't, because I haven't told you what the pun is. It's a play on words of our guest, who is an actress. She, and I love this part about it. Not just that she's a lovely lady, not that she's really talented, not just because she's going to be at the Irish Repertory Theater for a few weeks doing her very celebrated solo show based on James Joyce's Ulysses, specifically the final chapter, the monologue of Molly Bloom in I think it's called the Penelope section, where she's just, all these thoughts are going through her head when she's in bed with her husband. So the show is called Yes, Reflections on Molly Bloom. And she's done it for she's just been soaked and immersed in Joyce. What? Yeah, tell well, I'm telling you about the show. She's been immersed in Joycean language, and in particular the character of Molly for many years now. So now she's bringing this celebrated show off Broadway to the Irish Repertory Theater. It's running now already, just started. And so I think it's opening this week and then running until mid-July. Go see it, right? But she's with us in the Daverhood to talk about that show. And what really gives me pleasure and really gives me because this doesn't always happen. In fact, it happens pretty rarely on the show. But there's a family connection. And this is really neat because not many years ago, only about 5 years ago, her father was a guest on this program. Her father was Paddy Moloney, the musician. I think he played the tin whistle or some kind of pipey instrument, and was one of the absolute most important founder people of the Chieftains, maybe the most traditionalist national Irish band, pop and traditional band ever. The Chieftains, right? He was Paddy Moloney, and you reckon he was one of the most recognizable of them too, because he had that big old shaggy sort of red hair and the nose and if you saw that face, you think, oh, Chieftains. Well, Paddy Moloney was a delight to be on a St. Patrick's Day episode of Dave's Gone By. back in like 2015 or 16, not that long ago. Alas, Patty passed 2 or 3 years ago. But when he was on the program, he was talking about creating music, composing music to go with this show that his daughter was working on. His daughter being Aedin Moloney, right? And so she had been working on the Molly Bloom show, and he was working on it with her, right? And saying how proud he was of her and how great it was to work with her and to have this push and pull and the creativity and him making the music to underscore her work. And so we've had the father, and now it makes me, of course, wish I had them both on together. But we had the father, and now we'll have the daughter, Aedin Moloney, in the Daverhood. It's one of those rare times. We had it with Five-ish Finkel many years ago, who guested on this program, and a few years later we had his son Ian Finkel, the world's most famous, only famous xylophonist, who was also a novelist. Unfortunately, if you've ever seen Inbreeding, it was Five-ish and Ian Finkel. Alas, both of them died several years apart. But that was kind of sad to lose Ian because he was not particularly old. But and I've had certain family members. I mean, obviously, if I've had my aunt and her children on and her grandchildren, that's a little different. But in terms of guest famous celebrity-ish people on the show, we haven't had that too much. But I'm very, very excited. I think it's kind of a neat thing, and I hope to do that more as the opportunity arrives. By the way, I will not be chatting with Aedin Moloney. Rabbi Sal Solomon will be chatting with Aedin Moloney because Rabbi Sal loves Irish music. He loves, the Irish and the Jews have always had a kind of a symbiotic, happy, good relationship together. So he, of Temple Sons of Bitches in Great Neck, New York, he will be interviewing Aedin Moloney later on Dave's Gone By. Also, speaking of guests in the Daverhood, of course we're doing our weekly Today, Yesterday trivia quiz. They're trivia questions. You get to try and figure them out at home. And we have our panelists, of course. David Sheward, the former managing editor of Backstage, former president of the Drama Desk, and current theater critic and writer for TheaterLife.com, CulturalDaily.com, and also his own blog called The David Desk. It's David Sheward playing against or opposite or with Leslie Hoban Blake, who is a director and a theater critic. You can find her on Two on the Aisle, a weekly theater review show that she does with our mutual friend Charles Gross. They have a YouTube channel for it. It's called Two on the Aisle, the YouTube channel. Look for it. And then they'll be playing alongside Aedin Moloney. So we've had, back when we first started the Today Yesterday quiz, the first timers could barely get a point because it's such a dumb game and so weird and the questions were there. And it's just like, if they got one answer right, it was this miracle thing, and we had bells go off and confetti sparklers and fireworks would go on across the way. But in recent times, the newbies have really zoomed up. Maybe they're cribbing like people do before they go on Jeopardy and watching tons of
in a crib.
No, they're cramming, they're cribbing, they're watching old episodes of the show.
You can't though, but you can watch old episodes. But that doesn't mean you're going to be ready for the new one.
True, very true.
Just.
But also, it's the kind of thing although the questions will be different, if you take 5 practice achievement tests or ACTs, you are going to be, better prepped to sit down and take this year's SAT or ACT or whatever it is. So maybe she's been watching. Maybe she stayed up all night watching previous Today Yesterday quizzes.
Did her dad do the quiz?
No, he did. It was audio back then. We weren't even doing the Today Yesterday quiz back when her dad was on. That was the dark ages. Actually, they were pretty great ages. I was at the radio station at UNC, which no longer exists. But anywho, the Today Yesterday quiz, Aedin Moloney, and our Colorado Limerick of the Dam. Speaking of Colorado, so Joyce and I lived there for a bunch of years, and I got it into my noggin to be like, there's a lot of different places in Colorado, and a lot of interesting Colorado names of towns and cities and hamlets and burgs and Othellos. So I think I'm going to write a short poem about as many as I can. So I did like a dozen very quickly. And it hasn't stopped. This is about 4 or 5 years ago now. Every week, I try and do 1 or 2 new Colorado limericks of the damned.
You got some love from Mary Spencer Popinski.
Hey, Mary Spencer Popinski. Hey! I have a new one this week. So we're going to have a limerick about, and how perfect that we have an Irish theme and an Irish guest for a limerick. The limerick is about Battlement, Mesa. There is a town, small one, in Colorado called Battlement, Mesa. And I've written a short, disgusting poem. Let me give you the rating. I should always give the ratings on these Colorado limericks to see how awful and truly disgusting they are. Actually, this one is, it's not dirty, it's not anything like that, but it does dovetail in with some of the stuff we were just talking about. So you'll have to wait about 2 more hours and hear our Colorado limerick for Battlement, Mesa. I'll also give my afterthoughts.
Wait, the full name of the town is Battlement, Mesa?
It really is, 2 words. Battlement, like, buttress, fortress, and Mesa, like table. Yeah. There's a lot of towns in Colorado. At a certain point, they're going to run out of names. They had to do 2 name things. Battlement Mesa. Anywho, so, what else do I want to tell? Oh, yes, we'll go inside Broadway briefly, just for an after cap. Yeah, last show, the show we did last Saturday, was our annual Tony special.
It was a great show. A lot of guests.
It was wonderful. Actually, there were times when we had like 25 guests and the show ran on like 9 hours. I'm like, no.
Tea? Do you want tea?
I probably do. I think I'll have some cocta, finest herbal.
You sure you don't want tea?
Yeah.
Oh my God, David.
There's my TikTok meme right there. Those of you who have iMovie or Adobe software, if you're looking finally to get me on Instagram or on TikTok or one of these places, just get that coughing up of actual Jewish phlegm right there. That was beautiful. I got to rewatch that over and over and just share that. What you could hear the green sludge. That wasn't even coming from my lungs. That was actually coming literally like up out of my prostate, into my guts, through my lungs, into my throat, and shared with all of you. Wow! Wasn't that magnificent?
My eyes are itchy. I took out a lunch bag from the closet and all the dust flew on me.
Oh, that's not good. What else was I talking about? I was talking about the limerick. And yes, that it was, though, I thought, a really fun, smooth, terrific episode of Dave's Gone By last year. They're always fun, and they're always great. Sometimes they go a little haywire, but it was our 17th annual Tony special, because the Tony Awards were last Sunday, so we did our special the morning before. And we had wonderful guests, and they were all well-spoken and lively and fun and funny, and Rabbi Sol was great, and it was really, if I do say so myself, an excellent show, and I hope you enjoyed it. Well, I also followed the Tony Awards the following night, and I want to give you the lowdown. I want to let you know, like, since the Tonys, or here's what the Tonys meant this year to what is and isn't on Broadway, and what will and won't be on Broadway. So that'll be part of our Inside Broadway segment a little later in the show. Plus, we have, coming up like momentarily, our wonderful weekly segment called Greeley Crimes and Old Times.
I gotta wash the dust off my eyes.
Sure.
Tea's ready.
What Greeley Crimes and Old Times has to do with stories that you can find weekly, or strongly, if you prefer, in the Greeley Tribune newspaper. Now, the Trib is an actual real-life newspaper. I hope I can find, here it is, that has been published for something like 120, 130 years in northern Colorado. It's the actual town newspaper. Here it is. Here's a not so recent issue anymore, but it's all the. This is a real headline, and this is the actual image that runs under the. I swear it's not the Weekly World News. This was just genius level reportage here, but for real, it's mainly news about life and crime in northern Colorado, Greeley, Evans, not quite Fort Collins, but that whole Thornton area. But they have a sense of humor there. I mean, I wish they had a better sense of humor. They would have fucking hired me. But beyond that, the sense of humor extends to two columns that they do week after week after week. One of them is called Cop Log. And what they do is they go through it, and this is public record. When people call the local police station to say, oh my God, something terrible is happening, send a cop. Right? And I'm sure they get 100, 200 calls like this a day. Some of them are ridiculous. Some of them are funny. And since they're public domain and the names aren't used and actual addresses aren't given, just like, look, this street, this avenue, it can go in the paper. So they find the funniest ones, and once a week they put them in a column called Cop Log, and we share the ones that I find the most entertaining with you, but we also mix them up with another column in the Trib called 100 Years Ago. And this is where our friend over there, Mike Peters, looks through the newspapers from 1922. And he'll go in there and he'll see, well, this was published, or that's cute, or oh my gosh, more things change, ... So you have all these things that were published in the papers 100 years ago, and they're kind of fun to look at now. We mix all that up, and we call that Greeley Crimes and Old Times. And you know what? I think I want to get right to it. Let me get my music up, so I'm ready for that. Where is it? Here we go. Plus, let me remind you, I mentioned jokingly, although not so jokingly.
Need more water for your tea?
I know I haven't. I'm good. I'm good.
Drink some tea, honey.
I mentioned jokingly that preparing to play the Today Yesterday quiz on this show, guests should, and I'm sure do, spend hours watching and listening to old episodes of the program, so they know what to expect. How can you do that too? I hear you say. How can I do that too? Well, you just go to davesgoneby.com. DAVESGONEBY.com. Every episode we've ever done, except for 2 or 3 that got technically difficulted out, but every other episode we've ever done, meaning more than 850 of them at this point, is there. Either it's just audio because we were a radio show back in the day, or the last 4 years are this video, but it's free. You can click on and watch, and if you're bored by a segment, you can skip over it and have fun. You can either download it onto your computer or your device to go walking with an MP3, or if you don't want to download, that scares you, just stream, so nothing's physically going onto your drive. Either way, davesgoneby.com. You can also go to archive.org, and that is a not-for-profit website that collects more than information, just literature and art and music and TV shows and old radio shows, whatever's in the public domain really, or that they have permission. They're just having this repository of world entertainment and culture and art at archive.org, and we've got a channel there, believe it or not. Every interview we've done, every episode, archive.org, look for Dave's Gone By. Plus, if you just want to hear, if you want to see this face for 3 hours, you can just listen to the show by going to castbox.fm. Castbox.fm. And that's really for podcasting. So if you don't care about the video, seeing the people, you can just download the thing. It's perfectly set up for podcasting, and take Dave's Gone By wherever you go. And finally, Tuesday nights from 9:30 to 10:30 in the evening Eastern Time. If you happen to live in Nassau County, you can tune to Channel 20 and watch a 1-hour random excerpt of Dave's Gone By. Channel 20 on Altice Cablevision of Nassau County, Tuesday nights, 9:30. It's not the best way to catch Dave's Gone By, but it's kind of cool that it's just this random thing of like Oh my God, there's Dave on my TV screen. Yeah, once a week, Tuesdays, 9:30 to 10:30. But the main way still is to go to davesgoneby.com for all the archives. Well, Joyce, are you ready? Are you feeling, as Fiona Apple would say, like a criminal? What was it? Oh, she's right. Well, I need to play some criminalish music to start this segment called Greeley Crimes and Old Times. What the hell? Why is this not playing? Oh, it's not playing because I have the iTunes turned all the way down. And I gave it always when I give it such a big build-up.
I just invited you to watch your own show.
Such a professional. I don't know, I'm a little busy. Maybe I'll watch my show later. Okay. Once again, ladies and gentlemen, take two. Greeley, crimes, and old times. Yes, ladies and gentlemen, Greeley crimes and old times. So basically, it's a mix of the calls that come into the police dispatch in northern Colorado and also things that were in the paper 100 years ago there. We begin with a man on 19th Street. He said, quote, he was going to put down a turkey that was chasing people and running into traffic. Oh, oh, you need this? Here you go. Hold on. I gotta give Joyce this important noisemaker. Yeah.
Okay.
Well, this wasn't a phone call. This is a man just saying he was going to put down a turkey that was chasing people and running into traffic. I wonder how he would do. It's like, you're a bad turkey. You're an ugly, overweight turkey. Putting the turkey down that way.
I think he dissed the turkey.
He did.
He wanted to say he dissed the turkey.
Yeah. But you know what? After that incident was cleared up to his satisfaction, it was all gravy. I'm just stuffing the comedy into you. Well, yeah, I kind of got that. Oh, put down your tea, because I feel the phone about to ring. I'll get it. Where's that phone? Oh, I got it. Yeah. Where are you from? Oh, 17th Street. A caller on 17th Street reported fire. You got to play that while Aedin Moloney's on.
I'm not playing that. No way. I respect the Irish people.
A caller reported finding a dollar bill on his son's car. He was concerned there were chemicals on it.
Ooh.
Isn't that true, though? Isn't it true like that every piece of American currency has some drug residue on it because so much is laundered?
Really?
I think that's actually a true, maybe it's an urban myth or something like that, but literally, like, out of every $10, 9 of them is going to have either cocaine or some weird substance thing that has passed through it. Something like that. I don't know. Maybe I'm making that up. Anyway, a woman near 6th Street reported, and I'm just going to say this, I was not near 6th Street this week or last. I'm just telling you this. I'm telling this to my wife. So you don't think this is me.
Yeah.
A woman near 6th Street reported a creepy, toothless man
Jesus.
stared at her, quote, like she was a piece of meat. And I would say, really, she should rest easy because a toothless man cannot eat meat.
How does she know he was toothless? Like, they must have been pretty close.
Well, it probably went like...
Yeah, but you'd have to be pretty close to see that.
Oh, well, I guess so. Well, you can see across the way if somebody had, like, was either smiling at you or you see this hollow, like, maw. Hey, baby. Come to think of it, and I'm not saying anything, and I don't want to get written up by this woman at the Washington Post, but if she is going to get oral sex from a man, she's probably going to enjoy it most from a toothless old guy. There's no barriers. There's no problem getting in there. All right. What was the joke about the? And this is disgusting. About the what was it? The perverted doctor or the perverted gynecologist And he tells the woman, okay, I'm going to go down there, but I've got to numb the area. And so he flips up her skirt and goes down. And he said, what the hell are you doing? He's like, oh, no. Yes, please send your complaints to davesgoneby@aol.com. All right, next one. Blushing, literally. All right, here we go. Now, which one of these men do you think would be the offender? Which of these do you think would be committing the crime that we're worried about here?
Okay.
A caller on 11th Avenue.
Sort of like joke, like 3 men go into a bar.
Four. Here we go.
Oh,
A caller on 11th Avenue reported 4 men named Aaron, Ed, Joe, and Toothpick.
David, I don't think Toothpick was his God-given, like his birth name.
It might have been
I hope he was skinny.
It'd be great if he was humongously
sometimes
fat.
They do that. They call them the reverse of the...
Or he just had like maybe he had a really huge dick. And that was, was like the nickname they gave him.
No, I think Toothpick means he's either tall and thin or he's heavy.
Well, here's the thing. These were the 4 men, Aaron, Ed, Joe, and Toothpick. The guy said, we're threatening to stab him. So I'm guessing, just off the top of my head, that Toothpick might be the most likely stabber.
I don't understand. Like, how do you name everybody? Like, let me just name everyone I know.
Well, these are obviously people this person knows.
Yeah, I know. Weird.
My pal Toothpick. It's on his birth certificate. Wouldn't it be great if it was like, he was Toothpick, his father would speak a pick, his mother was Elaine Pick, Take your peek.
You can name it. Well, you could, but I don't think his real name is Toothpick.
Let's get to, by the way, let's do some old-timey things, shall we? These are items that were in the newspaper, in the Greeley Tribune, or it was called the Tribune Republican back then, 100 years ago. This is like an editorial thing. Because they also used to put cute little mottos and aphorisms in the paper back in the day. The next time somebody says, you big cheese, you, don't get angry. Did you get angry the last time somebody said to you, you big cheese,
no,
you?
I love cheese.
Yeah.
I love cheese. That's a compliment in my country.
So good. I'm glad you didn't get angry.
I would be, if someone said, I'm going to give you a big cheese, I'd be more happy because I like cheese.
Well,
not all cheese, but good cheese.
Yeah. Now, granted, I'm Jewish, so I don't believe in cheeses, but the paper had put this in there. Yeah. If somebody says, you big cheese, you, don't get angry.
Okay. Just
head over to LaSalle to see the new cheese factory. They are already buying 5,700 pounds of milk daily from local dairy farmers.
But isn't that funny? Didn't when we left Lucerne, one another, a cheese company came in.
They came in, yeah. We were known. Greeley was known for that sort of thing. Or as the paper capped that story, or that little item with, quote, now that's a big cheese.
That's funny.
I'm not kidding.
Don't get angry, newspaper, that we called you a big cheese.
Oh, wow. Now, granted, that story has a lot of holes in it. Get it?
You never asked Cousin Jody about her toilet paper roll book.
Oh, I should have.
I just saw her name, and I think you should.
I gotta get her on the show. Yeah,
I really feel like that would be something that you'd enjoy.
Well, Rabbi Saul for sure.
That might be a problem.
Rabbi Saul uses so much toilet paper, he should have stock in the factory. Seriously. And, maybe this is the woman from the Washington Post. An hysterical woman rushed into the Mesa undertaking service. So that's not going to be a good day for her.
That's not good for anybody.
And she shouted that her prominent neighbors, both women, have been murdered.
What?
Yeah. Okay, so she rushes into the she doesn't go to the police. She goes right to the...
You know what? Eliminate the middleman. Come and get him. Come and get him. They're going to end up with you anyway.
Now, the police chief rushed to the scene and found both women alive and well.
Thank God.
The hysterical woman was taken to a doctor to quiet her. And then she tweeted about it, and it's just been a shitstorm ever since.
I think, maybe she thought she heard something. I mean, it's scary.
Well, good for
Out
her.
in the country, you're out in the country alone. I'd be calling people too.
If you see something, say something. Maybe, yeah.
What did she hear? That it must have been like maybe.
I don't know.
Chopping wood, or I mean.
Not just that they were dead.
Yeah.
Because it's gonna be a gas thing, but that they had been murdered.
Yeah.
And then suddenly it's like, no, we're fine. We're just listening to the radio. I don't know.
I don't understand that.
And now for a Whopper, but that
boy.
is not my language. That's them. This is.
We're going to Burger King.
Now for it takes two hands to handle this story. It does.
Oh my God, you're going back to the advertisement from the '60s, right?
Well, this isn't even. This is just a little line item. Fishing season has started, and it's open season for fish stories.
Oh.
This is cute. The first came from two Greeley men fishing the Poudre River, who came home with 72 trout.
Whoa.
Sure, they did. Sure. Now, look, I'm not one to carp.
I invited people, but I had to stop because there was too many people.
It's impinging on my sunny disposition.
I once caught a shark, a baby shark, when my dad had friends who had a small boat, and we went out.
Yeah.
And then they said he was already gone, so they were going to cook it and give it to the cats. They had cats. And then my grandfather with the fishing club literally caught a can of tuna. Like I swear, like not even a joke. And they had pictures of it, like they proved it. And Grandpa was like, I hate cleaning the fish, and that was the joke that he literally caught
a can of tuna. Yeah. But it was in water, not oil. So, but you just reminded me. This happened at work this week.
What?
Because this was a story in Newsday. It was picked up in Newsday.
Mary said, perhaps she just watched Rear Window on TMC, and then she said, "Oops, Rear Window."
Well, yeah.
Oh yes.
Because of the woman or Vertigo. Was it Vertigo? Was the one where he's looking at the?
No, it's Rear Window where he hurts himself and he's watching the TV.
Oh, of course, right. So, but in Newsday was a story about sharks in local waters, right? Not great white huge whatevers, but in like Jones Beach and Long Beach, whatever. So, that one of the guys who's been coming to demonstrate live biological things and butterflies and frogs, they've been coming
for. The one who left the butterflies to die.
Yeah, basically, yes.
That was horrible.
Well, I haven't even talked about this on the air, but one of the things about where we are, I work in a school district, and even though our building is not one of the schools with children in it, because we deal with the technological stuff, they've been bringing in a couple days a week kids for special programming done by these two guys who bring in, a cute live frog and a hedgehog and a snake and hissing Madagascar cockroaches and stuff, and they leave them, and they don't leave the cockroaches, thank God, but they leave the frog, who's this iridescent blue-green frog. I loved him, right? I literally walked to that room like 5 times a day just to look in the tank and go,
free
froggy.
Butterflies, so you did a lot of good.
And they had butterflies hatching from pupae, because it's a school, they're filled with pupae, but they're in these cage netty things, so they're going to live and die in this cage. And meanwhile, so after all the demonstrations were over, we had like butterflies just randomly flying in the one-winged, fucked up butterflies on the floor. You'll be trying to have lunch or trying to go in the room to get some files, and so you see something flapping by your face, like and then finally these things are hatching, or I guess they're hatched. That's the word. Coming out of their thing, they're stuck in this little cage thing. I was like, these guys aren't coming back. I'm just going to open these up, and I rescued about 4 butterflies. And I'm getting to the reason for this story. So these guys came back this week, and they said, oh, by the way, we were out on the boats and stuff like that.
Yeah.
You know that story about that shark that was swimming, and they called.
I sent you, yeah.
We were there. We were the ones who called that in.
Really?
We tried to save the shark, and then we got yelled at for trying to tamper with nature, for trying to save this shark and stuff.
Do you know the full story?
I should have read the Newsday story, but of course Newsday has a paywall. But I think I remember seeing it mentioned on like News 12 or something, that they found mako sharks, and he said, you know what? There's always small sharks in these. Generally they leave you alone. They really don't. It's not like Jaws, unless you mess with them or there's really like blood all over you. There's gotta be little sharks. They're just swimming with all the other fish. You leave them be, they'll leave you be. But he said it was a sad story, and I do believe he said at the end of it they couldn't save the thing, and they cut it up and they make steaks out of it, which apparently is very tasty. Tastes like shark flavored chicken, I guess. By the way, if you love the taste of shark flavored chicken, you love watching this show. It's called Dave's Gone By with me, Dave Lefkowitz, my darling and adorable wife Joyce. It is our 854th episode of the program called Live Aid, in honor of our upcoming guest later in the show, Aedin Moloney, the actress. She is off Broadway right now, appearing in Yes, Reflections on Molly Bloom, taken
Where is it? What do you know? The theater?
Irish Repertory Theater over on
nice.
West 22nd Street.
Does she perform there a lot?
She has been there. She's done a bunch with them, as a matter of fact. They're sort of like an old, because she's Irish. She has an Irish accent. She is really, they don't have to go casting about New York and then training somebody to speak in an Irish way. She's done a lot of stuff there and in New Jersey. God knows why she has to do it in New Jersey, but there she is. Aedin Moloney talking to Rabbi Saul Solomon in about half an hour from now. So do not miss that. It's probably going to be a joy. Anyway, we're now in the middle, though, on Dave's Gone By, of doing our weekly Greeley Crimes and Old Times segment, a mix of recent crime in the area and stuff that was in the newspaper 100 years ago. We're doing one or two more old things, and I have some elsewhere stuff, too. In Evans, a surprise birthday party was given for Miss Estella Smith. Look, back in the old days, like Miss Eulalie Watson. It was like Miss Estella Smith, one of her parents, in a series of predictions about their daughter, said they are sure she will be talking with her friends on a radio phone in 20 years. A radio phone. How do you think? I think they certainly had phones back then, and they had radios. What do you think a radio phone would be? Like,
Maybe, I don't know, over the radio?
it'd be like this show on the radio, like when you're Zooming people without the video. But a radio phone, I love that word. Okay, I'll do one more from old times. Don Taylor was driving his truck across a bridge when the bridge collapsed. He was thrown from the driver's seat, and the belt on his coat tangled on a broken timber on the bridge. It held him halfway in the water until help arrived. Taylor said that his coat belt saved his life.
There you go.
Isn't that cool? Is that, so you wear the right garment.
Fashion. People dismiss fashion choices, but if he would have worn a different coat that day.
Well, it's true. I mean, wasn't Isadora Duncan? She was strangled to death by her scarf. Not because some guy did it to her, but it was caught in, the car she was in. Well, no, but that was not. This was completely an accident. Karenina threw herself. Literally, Duncan.
Yeah, but a lot of people say that her pocketbook was stuck, and this idea of her not wanting to leave it. I mean, there's a.
No, I'm sorry. She was wearing a scarf. Women wear these long things. It flew in, and it got caught in gears. And she's like, ah!
What a way to go.
And unfortunately, the driver of the vehicle, one of the reasons this happened, he was doing, these donuts around the parking lot. Well, he was doing his Dunkin' Donuts. Thank you. America runs on Dunkin' jokes. Let's do some elsewhere stuff. Elsewhere is when we have a story or two that is not in Greeley or northern Colorado. It goes elsewhere. This time we're going to go all the way to Hollywood, California. Hooray for Hollywood. Da, 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 da. So this is one of the things I love. This goes back to something I absolutely loved doing when I worked for Playbill. I was I was a writer there for a few years, and then I became the managing editor. And one of my favorite stories that I got to write a couple of times a year was when there was a Fringe Festival. Because Fringe Festival would have 50 to 100, 150 shows. And because the writers and the actors wanted to get noticed, the only way you can, when you're one little show trying to vie for attention among dozens of others, is to make the show, to give it a title that's unbelievably stupid or offensive or funny, so that it stands out, so that it's so unbelievably ridiculous. So if they had named a show like Go Somewhere Else, if that were the title of a show, I mean, cute, whatever. But instead, they called it You're in Town, and and it turned out to be a terrific show, so people gravitated towards it and made it to Broadway. But when you see the regular title, This Is My Life, This Is This, da 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 da, You're in Town, I'm like, wait a minute, and this happens. So it's always a delight for me when there's a Fringe Festival with a ton of shows to share with you guys the ones that I'm like, oh, here's a title for you, or check out this synopsis. So the Hollywood Fringe Festival in Hollywood, California, is running as we speak now through June 26th at various venues. It's not just one theater. They've got a lot of shows happening. The Hollywood Fringe Festival. Let's hear some of these titles of the shows. Are you ready for these? Shows include Super Hostess, Dogs, Sewage, and Booze, a host's adventures in home sharing. Well, it's the other side of the Airbnb thing. It's like, what?
You don't put sewage in
I don't know how. Obviously, somewhere in that show is the super hosts or super hostess's experience with a guest and sewage.
No.
I'm just plumbing the depths of these titles here. Okay, here's another one.
Let me say one word, no.
The Lion, the Witch, and the Walk-in Closet. That's cute. Not that cute. Gummy Worm, which is a new comedy about sex. Go figure. Love Chicken.
Oh, I like that.
Love Chicken.
That's a good title.
Quote, a queer comedy of non-binary best friends.
Oh, Love Chicken.
So I guess they all get clucked at the end. This is my favorite title. This is Rabbi Saul's favorite title. It's a show called What Am I, Chop Suey? About growing up Chinese in America.
Oh.
Isn't that clever? What Am I, Chop Suey? And then there's another show, because these Fringe festivals are so egalitarian, How to Be Japanese. So they take an interesting slant on that. And then, this is also great, Rice Baby, Growing Up Vietnamese. So there's one for each. There's What Am I, Chop Suey, How to Be Japanese, and Rice Baby. And then, of course, we move to the other part of the world, a show called Afghanistan Is Not Funny. Like we thought it was. And this is upsetting. There's a title called Squirrels Are Fake.
Yes, I believe that's true.
Yeah. I mean, it's a little on the nose, that one. I'm gonna read the title of this one and the synopsis. Yeah, okay. The name of the show, this is just the name of the show. Shubop Dubé had the No Matter What prequel, and Watt is spelled W-A-T-T. Why that matters, I don't know. This is prequel to, I guess, another show that played at the Fringe. Quote, it is 10 years earlier. Bill Shabop Dubé had Secrets, that's his name, finds recovery with Bumdinger cheese nipples. Oh, sorry. No, not cheese nipples. Chase nipples. Excuse me.
Cheese nipples is much
I prefer cheese nipples. No, Bumdinger chase nipples. Our Lady of Perpetual Disappointment, Annabelle What the Hell, Unruly Julie, I kind of like that name, and Juan Buzzon from Tucson. Together, they learn to get through their no-matter-whats without self-destructing behaviors. All right, you know what? If you can make it through that explanation, you deserve Fringe Theater, ladies and gentlemen. And then the kind of show that I always want to do, or want to have something like this. This is such a Fringe title. Lyme.
Oh no.
Just saying. Lyme disease, the musical.
Nice. Oh, that's peppy.
No, I heard the show's a lemon though.
I like that. That's peppy.
and then now we get to the really great ones. Tight, sexy stories about. And you have to see the logo for this one. I should share it with you, but it's a feminine thing. Tight, sexy stories about pelvic pain.
Oh my god.
Oh, yes. Yes, indeed. Oh. If it was a musical, I guess they do the song You Have to Be Carefully Twat. All right. Asexuality, the solo musical. Oh, that makes sense. Why I Am the Way I Am, which is, I love the explanation here, 7 stories of people you probably already hate. All right, I like that. And then 2 unrelated shows that are in the same festival, Breed or Bust, and the other show, Abortion Weekend. I'm hoping that is not a musical. And then we have, yes, four different shows that want to be noticed a lot. Night of Weird Shit, Shitheads, 4 Seasons Total Shit Show, which is, by the way, not to be confused with Grief, a one-man shit show. So if you put the letter S, it's automatically, like, eyes gravitate towards that particular show in a Fringe Festival. This I love. I wish I had a show with this title. A Terrible Show for Terrible People.
Oh, God.
Which kind of describes the whole Fringe Festival motif, doesn't it? And then what was I just talking? This totally flew out of my head. I wasn't even thinking about this when I joked an hour ago.
About Schlosser?
No. Somebody's doing I think it's a solo show at the Hollywood Fringe Festival called Charles Manson Live. Right?
You were just talking about Manson, yeah. You were saying, like, Hinckley and other people who should do, like, shows and, yeah.
Right, and now this guy, it doesn't even have to be Manson. This guy may sell out his couple of nights at the Hollywood Fringe playing Charles Manson and probably singing a couple of Manson songs. Wow. Look at your game, girl. Look at your game, girl. All right, anyway.
You're a good singer.
Thank you. Well, Manson was better.
Why don't you star in the show?
Emma and Richie's Big Viking Funeral. There's so much to unpack with that one, but yes, that's a show. And finally, and last but certainly not least, how can we forget Blood Pig, which is a bromantic horror comedy. Blood
There's
Pig.
nothing romantic about a show called Blood Pig.
Yeah, I know. Well, maybe the actors are very hammy. I make myself laugh. I don't make anybody else laugh, but I make myself laugh.
Blood Pig is hard.
Get your tickets now for all of these delights at the because really, if you're seeing Charles Manson, you should do a double header with Blood Pig. Night of Weird Shit will also figure with Charles Manson too, if you think about it. Anyway, get your tickets for the Hollywood Fringe Festival as we speak. Let's do another Elsewhere, and then we'll get back to 1 or 2 more crimes, and we will move on to our next segment. Oh, we're in New York now for this next item in Greeley Crimes and Old Times. Bronx, New York. The zoo. The Bronx Zoo. Now we're talking about legal stuff and people suing and court cases. Happy the elephant may be intelligent and deserve compassion, but what do you think the court ruled?
He's not a pig.
Not only is Happy the elephant not a pig, it's also not a human being. This is what the courts had to rule. New York's top court ruled on this. The zoo and its supporters warned that a win for advocates at the Non-Human Rights Project could open the door to more legal actions on behalf of animals, including pets, farm animals, and other species in zoos. Chief Judge Janet DiFiore wrote in her decision that, quote, while no one disputes that elephants are intelligent beings deserving of proper care and compassion, ... they're not people. 2 judges dissented, saying Happy's confinement is unjust and inhumane.
But that's the main issue, right?
Yeah, but they're trying to say in a legal way that it's so sentient and feels pain, it's like a human. But I like to feel that courts can still rule, even in this day and age, that don't torture an elephant. That's wrong because you're torturing an elephant. It's not wrong because an elephant, sort of could look perhaps like a human being if it lost 1,400 pounds.
Does he read the paper and does he eat, drink coffee or tea?
No, but like me, he eats a lot of peanuts.
Oh, yeah, that's true.
He works for peanuts. Anyway, Happy
What did
arrived
the
at the...
elephant have to say?
Well, he arrived at the Bronx Zoo in 1977
Oh my god.
with fellow elephant Grumpy, who was fatally injured in a 2002 confrontation with 2 other elephants.
Oh my god.
So they kind of behave like humans in the
That's
Bronx.
horrible.
Anyway, let's do 1 or 2 more crimes, and we'll get on to probably some quick inside Broadway, and then we've got Aedin Moloney coming in with Rabbi Solomon. Okay, we've got a woman. This is recent. A woman on 8th Avenue said. She said a werewolf and 2 men were underneath her bed trying to steal her credit card information.
Oh no.
So, what, just, okay.
Yeah.
What would a werewolf do? I mean, obviously
they
need
have to buy like
razor.
Blackout shades.
Yeah.
A cage for when they go in at night and they go cuckoo.
Beard care.
They gotta join Peacock to watch that werewolf show we constantly.
That's
see
right.
That costs money.
Yeah.
That's not free.
So okay, I guess I can understand why a werewolf would need someone's credit card information. I get that now. Yeah, I thought werewolves only needed the actual credit card so they could get into places, and steal stuff.
But our werewolf's human.
Oh. Or was it in Young Frankenstein? It said werewolf, where? Werewolf, there.
Yeah.
Old Mel Brooks joke. One more. A caller. Oh, we have one more caller. Hello, I'll get this one. My phone's on silence. A caller on First Street said she recorded. Oh man, I got this newfangled phone. I can't figure out how the volume works on it. Oh, that's why I still use my old my rotary here. A caller on First Street said she recorded 18 minutes of her neighbor's chickens squawking. Officials, however, listened to the tape and determined it was just an unreleased Yoko Ono album from 1987. Ladies and gentlemen, that is Greeley Crimes and Old Times.
Mr. Horace Greeley was no fool.
Oh, he was not.
I'm sure that you agree with me that Greeley was no fool.
What he is getting at is that Mr. Greeley was no fool.
Yippee-yi, yippee-yi, yippee-yi-yi-yi, yippee-yi, yippee-yi, yippee-yi.
Greeley Crimes and Old Times on this Saturday morning, June 18th, 2022, the 854th episode of Dave's Gone By. Well, before we get to our very special theatrical guest, Aedin Moloney in the Daverhood, let's talk theater first. We'll roll into the segment, because I do have some theater stuff I want to talk about in the week following our great big 17th annual Total Theater Broadway special episode of Dave's Gone By that aired last Saturday and that you can watch right here on this Facebook page or at davesgoneby.com. But also, it's post-Tony Awards that happened that Sunday night. So let's just talk about a little bit the Tonys and their aftermath in this segment that we call Inside Broadway. Inside Broadway, a look at theater on and off Broadway and beyond. Brought to you by Total Theater and Performing Arts Insider. Curtain going up. Inside Broadway we go, just to talk about the 75th annual Tony Awards that aired live last Sunday night. It was June, I think we did our show on June 11th, so this would have been June 12th. And it was coming to you live, all 3 hours of it on CBS, with the first hour earlier on like Paramount. So people had all sorts of issues with like trying to watch the stupid shows on Paramount and Paramount Plus. We tried to sign up to watch the thing. It was just a friggin' nightmare. Yeah, that's the thing. Like CBS realizes that a lot of viewership is online, but if you're gonna want people to watch online, allow the Tonys to be on the thing you can sign up for. Not, no, it's not just our Paramount Plus, it's our Paramount Plus Premium. It's like, fuck you. For years and years, we watch the Tonys, we watch commercials, but just put it on the interwebs. It's going to be on all over the place on YouTube and Vimeo anyway. Just. But the good part of what CBS did this year, and I think it probably made a difference with the ratings, I hope it did, was, and we talked about this and I've been complaining about this for years. I'm obsessed with this. The time zone thing. Even though right now I'm in New York, we happen to be in New York, where the Tony Awards take place, so it's the same time zone. All those years we were living in Colorado, we were 2 hours behind, and the Tonys were an hour behind. And I went through this
was a great show.
week
I
after
like the Tonys. I don't know if she means your show or the Tonys.
I'm not sure who's that, Mary
Yeah,
Ann?
I'm going to say the Tonys.
Well, so anyway, so if you were in California or Colorado or Chicago, you got to watch the Tonys live in real time this year. None of this like finding out who the winners are, and then an hour later suddenly they're accepting their award on TV. I think that's great, and I'm proud of CBS for doing that. And the good news is that the ratings, to some extent, rebounded. Now they had a weird mid-year Tony Awards last time, like they came in like September or something like that, because there was no Broadway for a year or so. And then they wanted to honor shows that opened just before the pandemic and a couple like after. It was, I mean, God bless them. They did a Tony Awards. It was weird and nobody watched. This time, more people watched. I think it got like a 3.9 rating, which is 1 million more than last year, but down still from the season just before the pandemic in 2019. So we're still a long way from the Tony Awards having, good ratings for an awards show, or much as I have no real use for her as an actress or anything, when Rosie O'Donnell took over the Tony Awards, not that she was in any way the best host, but all these housewives, all these people just kind of tuned in. Oh, it's Rosie O'Donnell. I watch her in the morning. I'll watch the Tonys. And she also showed all these Tony actors and actresses and songs on her show, and really gave a tremendous amount of push to the Tonys, for which she deserves a great amount of credit. And then for a while, Neil Patrick Harris, this fabulous host, people tuned in for him, and he, brought some buzz to it. And then there was, pardon the expression, the Hamilton year, when people were just so keyed up about Lin-Manuel Miranda's Hamilton that they tuned in, and they wanted to see a scene from Hamilton, and they wanted to see how many Tonys it would win. But since then, it's just been like, not because the shows have been bad, they've been very professional every year. And certainly, apparently, they were this year as well. Most were agreed that the host, Ariana DeBose, was, I really didn't know about, but apparently she was absolutely slick. I saw her in the opening number, and she looked great, and she sounded great. She was a very professional host. And some people found her sort of bland and slick in a way. Pretty much everybody else said, oh yeah, no, she got the gig, she rocked it, it was classy.
That opening number we saw was really well done. It took a lot of energy. I couldn't have done that. I would have been sleeping.
Yeah, I could have done it if they'd given me that white spangly dress. I could have rocked it like she did, I think.
Maybe.
Yeah.
You could have. I could try. You could have tried at least.
But let me give you the upshot of the 75th Annual Tony Awards. So the winner of the Best Play was the Lehman Trilogy, as kind of expected. The story of the Lehman brothers coming from the old country, these three Orthodox Jewish guys, and building a financial empire. And then, second and third act, the empire crumbles. Simon Russell Beale won for Best Actor in a Play, which was only a three-actor play, playing all the other characters. They were all great. For Best Musical, it seemed like kind of a horse race. It seemed like MJ, the Michael Jackson musical, had some people behind it. Also, a lot of people who just still don't think that there should be a Michael Jackson musical on Broadway, for the same reason there shouldn't be a Mike Tyson show on Broadway. And then also people thought Six kind of surprised folks. That is a very popular Broadway musical with a very modern, often catchy and clever score. So Six took Best Score. That was one of the big shockers of the night, because a lot of people thought it was going to be a sweep for the new musical A Strange Loop, which won the Pulitzer. And it's this meta musical about this usher who's writing a musical about an usher named Usher, and that he's writing a musical about an usher. It's like, right? Very cute, well done, very smart downtowny thing that made it to Broadway. And some people are just over the moon about it. I think there's a lot to recommend it. I'm not over the moon about it. But people are thinking, oh, it was sweep. It's going to win all these awards. It won 2. The 2 it won were big. It won for Best Musical, so it did beat out 6, and it did beat out MJ. And it also won for Best Book of a Musical. I can kind of go with that. I think there were some decent books, like Mr. Saturday Night, and even Mrs. Doubtfire had a pretty darn good book. A well-crafted, good book. The MJ book, considering with the constraints that the writer had to work with, which was?
I don't know. Ask Mary, what was the shocker?
The shocker was 6 taking Best Score. Anyway, musical revival, and I was very happy about this, went to the gender-flipped staging of Company.
Oh, you love that.
With Marianne Elliott as the director. Matt Doyle, the guy who sings I'm Not Getting Married. Oh, no, I'm Not Getting Married. He won for Best Featured Actor in a Musical. And yes, Patti LuPone did win, I think it's her 3rd Tony, for Actress in a Musical. I don't know, I saw Company twice. First time, Patti kind of left me a little cold. Second time, I realized, okay, yes, she's a star. She's rocking it. Whether she really deserved that 3rd Tony for this performance, I'm still on the fence about that. I went back and I watched Barbara Walsh in the last Broadway revival of Company. And she's literally just backed by a piano. And she does The Ladies With Lunch. And it nails you to the freaking wall. Patti does too. This time, maybe not so much, and not so much interesting a character. So if you, again, after my show's over, go to YouTube, look for Barbara Walsh and Company, and check that out. Deirdre O'Connell, this long-suffering, long-toiling actress off Broadway, made it to Broadway in the play Dana H., and she won for Best Actress in a Play. And for Best Actress in a Musical, and everybody saw it. That was the talk of the night. The show that Garth Drabinsky came back to Broadway with, the show that the critics went, meh, the show that's not really selling any tickets, but Joaquina Kalukango, Joaquina Kalukango of Paradise Square did her 11 o'clock number called Let It Burn, and she burned the house down. If any show is going to pick up some tickets from its performance, we'll find out on like Monday or Tuesday. Probably Tuesday when the figures come out for this week's box office.
I'd be curious to see.
Because everybody was saying...
She's still in it? Because sometimes
she's in it.
People are,
Yeah. The week after, all the actors take a little time off, but she's still in the show in Paradise Square.
What was the reception when she sang it? They would go crazy.
It's just just like it was when I was in the theater seeing Paradise Square.
Mary said she's not convinced Patti should have won.
I'm agreed.
Oh.
Now, in terms of, there's been no immediate, seismic fallout or change in terms of post-Tonys. This
Can I
happened.
just ask you one question? What time is the quiz?
11.
Okay. These people are checking in.
Oh, yeah, welcome people checking in. We have our guest in the waiting room, so I'm going to finish this quick. It's not as if sometimes when a show's up for a bunch of Tonys and really needs them, and then it doesn't get them, it closes and announces closing, it goes to hell. We're having 2 closures this weekend of Hangmen and Girl from the North Country, but they were set to close anyway. I think if Girl from the North Country had picked up some awards, it might have stayed on a little longer, but that's about it. Beanie Feldstein and Jane Lynch announced that they are leaving Funny Girl in September.
Yeah, there's no surprise.
So that show got no love from the Tonys. It's not bad at all, but it just didn't get any love.
No, but you said she didn't even, did she attend the ceremony, Beanie?
No, I don't think she was even there. She wasn't nominated, and the show got only 1 nomination. It was for a design thing, I believe. So, yeah, nobody, but Funny Girl is, at least at the box office, is not a hit yet because it's got a lot of money to make back, but it's one of the shows of the season that looks like it would be a hit. And if, as the rumor has it, they'll replace Beanie Feldstein with Lea Michele, it might have some legs. Anyway, speaking of legs and other body parts, We have someone who is playing a very sensual woman on stage off Broadway at the Irish Repertory Theater. Her name is Aedin Moloney, and she is going to be talking to Rabbi Sol Solomon. So let's close out this Inside Broadway segment and bring Rabbi Sol and Aedin Moloney into the Daverhood for some fun.
It's the famous gay white way where the night is bright as day. Ain't Broadway grand?
It's not just a thoroughfare, it's a tingle in the air. Ain't Broadway grand?
It's excitement, it's romance, it's all fun and song and dance. This wonderland, you can be a millionaire quicker here than anywhere. Ain't Broadway grand?
Oh, shalom, my friends. We're having a guest in the neighborhood that we will be talking to momentarily. She's logging in. She's connecting to her audio. We see her name. We see her first name. Looks like the beginning of a Woody Allen movie here. Let's see. Let's make sure. Aedin. She's connected. We're connecting. There we go. Oh, wait, hold on. The audio, I need to hear you. You're muted. Unmute, please. So we can talk to Aedin Moloney.
Hi, how are you?
Shalom! Shalom to you!
Shalom to you too.
How are you?
I'm good. I'm delighted to be here and speaking with you. Thank you very much for.
Oh, I love that accent. It's like having all the Clancy brothers in one room together talking at once. It's beautiful. Ladies and gentlemen, this lovely lady, her name is Aedin Moloney. Couple of things I want to tell you about her. Most of all, she's been an actress for several years now. She's been doing tons of shows at the Irish Repertory Theater, including a new one. She was born in Dublin. You can hear that in the accent. And we're so proud about 5 years ago that your dad was on this program, Patty Moloney.
I didn't.
Oh, so you don't watch the show and you didn't know. That's on you. Yeah.
I'm so sorry. That is amazing. I'm so happy to hear this. I'm so happy to hear this.
And he was so proud because at the time, one of the things we were talking about was that he was working with you. He was composing music for the Molly. Oh, no, don't get all clamped on me. But I'm just saying that yes, he was working on the Molly Bloom show, creating this underscoring music with you on this. I'm pretty sure this current project. Yes, Reflections on Molly Bloom. So the first thing is, what was it like working, not just being a daughter, but being a collaborator with your own father?
Oh, listen, it's the only project that we've collaborated on. And, you know, he's passed away. He died in October. Sadly, we lost him. But I'm delighted that I did get an opportunity to work with him. And, you know, his passing, you know, now it means even more to me that I did have that chance. And it was a very special experience because I knew what I wanted with the music, and he instinctively, without much explanation on my part, knew, you know, he just knew what to do. He knew what I was after, and it was very easy. And he went to Galicia in Spain and, you know, recorded with Xorsha and Carlos Nunez to create the sound I was looking for. You know, Molly Bloom is half Irish, half Spanish.
And possibly Jewish. We don't know.
Exactly. No, she is. I think she is. I mean, she states it very clearly that, you know, at one time in the text, you know, that, you know, I suppose, she says, I suppose on account of my being Jewish looking after my mother. And her mother's name was Lunica Laredo. And I haven't done too much research on this, but the little bit I did do, there is, I mean, James Joyce does not do anything by accident or throw stuff in there. Everything is like mathematical and methodic and with that free flowing, but he doesn't make mistakes. And the little bit of research I did do, now you might be able to correct me on this or know
Oh, of
more.
course I will. Yes, what?
But Lunita Laredo was an old surname, Jewish surname, family name from Portugal, and like an ancient Iberian Sephardic Jew, and I think that's I think that's what he's getting at, and quite honestly, in Irish heritage, if we Irish people when we do our DNA, on 24andMe and all those other sites, um, yes, it's something like 90 something percent of my DNA is Celtic and also Nordic, like through the Vikings. However, there's always a both on my mother's side and my father's side. There's something like 3 to 4%, sometimes 6%, if it's my brother who did it, that we're from Spain, from Iberia and Western Asia. So, clearly, there, that there is that running through Irish people's blood. And I do, going back probably centuries now, but, there is a little section of us all that has that in us.
Well, because it turns out, I did the test with a spit and a phlegm and a thing and a tube. And
Yeah.
like 97% Russia Polish, 3% asshole. So it really came back. It was a really interesting test. It was a guy scrawled on it by hand. It's like, don't spit at us again. Don't bother us. But
I love you. You're so funny.
thank you so much. So, but here's the deal. I also wanted to ask about working with it because the thing about Molly Bloom is, she's a little bit of a slut. We could possibly say she's very front forward about her sexuality, about her boobs, about all. So, when you're going over the text with your dad, were there moments when you're like, well, you don't have to do music for this part. I'll just black this stuff out, and we'll start here under here. Or was there any of that or not?
No, not at all. First of all, he couldn't watch some of those pieces. And I don't blame him. I wouldn't let him. I'd be totally embarrassed if he did. He's my dad, So, to be honest with you, there's only a small percentage of the text that is sexual. And, they're the dirty bits that everybody goes to and wants to.
The ones I underline in red crayon. Absolutely.
And I think they've been interpreted, I interpret things a little differently. My interpretation is not quite the same as the traditional interpretation. It's quite unique. First of all, these are private moments, and there's no audience. It's just her. And, when something is private and personal, it is less, it has less of for a woman, it has less of a masculine sexuality or what is perceived as being sexual or sexy. And, like the final moment, I interpret as being a celebration of life, of Mother Earth, of the earth, of procreation, of her children. A woman's, and when she celebrates her own sexuality, which is very, very different. And, my interpretation of when she pleases Poldy, her husband, is one that she doesn't really engage with. She doesn't physically feel herself. And
that's a typical Jewish woman for you right there.
Oh, there you go. It's a typical Irish Catholic woman too.
But here's the other question about that, going even beyond that, of like, it's a 50-page block of text with no, and it's like the Torah. There's no punctuation in it. How the hell did you even figure out to, I think I'll put a comma here, semicolon here. She's a woman, so she will have periods. So she put a period here. How did you even go through that to figure out where to stop and start and turn things into recognizable sentence patterns?
Well, first of all, when I was 10 years of age, we didn't have a television. And I was an avid reader. My father was, obviously a musician out on tour. I was at home alone with Mammy and my brother and my two brothers. My baby brother was born at that stage. And all we did was read, and my mum encouraged it. And I had run out of books and I found this book, didn't know anything about it, on the shelf. And I said, okay, what is this? And quite honestly, I was quite a lonely child, and I used to, the way I played was by reading, and I would read aloud. I had a sense of the dramatic even as a child. So everything I read aloud to myself in my tiny little bedroom, my box room. And I found this book and I started reading it, and it was Ulysses. I didn't know anything about it. A child's mind is like, if you don't poison it with this is bad, this is good, they're like a sponge. They accept everything. They don't question anything. They feel and see and observe and read on an emotional level. Like if you put a child in front of a piece of Picasso or a piece of, abstract art, they will have an opinion on it.
Oh, usually I threw up. I was stood in front of
There you
a
go.
pasty for 7 minutes, and a pastrami sandwich just like came out of me, and it hit the painting, and nobody could tell it was there.
There you go. You see what I mean? But you had a reaction.
Yes.
So when I read Ulysses, I read it out loud. The music of Joyce just flowed out, and the characters were dancing all around me, and it was like how I played. I had company, I had people in the room with me, and I know that sounds a little odd, but it's not. It's a child, and so I did not find the book difficult. I also enjoyed the fact that he was a rebel, and he was breaking all the rules of grammar that the nuns had beaten into me. The things.
Whoa. Well, you are from Ireland. You went to school in Dublin in your early years. Did they actually still do the ruler thing with the thing?
Yes, I got on the palms of my hands, but they weren't that bad in my era, but at all. But we did get smacked on the hands with the ruler by our teachers.
And you weren't in a convent doing laundry for everybody for
No.
That's
Nothing like that. So I know it was good, but it was, there were rules of teaching back then that are, probably a little less stringent than they are now. And but anyhow, to cut a long story short, when I read it, the great puzzle that is Ulysses and James Joyce was very clear to me and just unraveled right in front of my eyes and ears. And, and I accepted it, and it ran through me. And then when I came back to it as an adult, in 2003, Colin McCann, my friend, the author Colin McCann, had invited me to read some of the chapter, Penelope chapter, Molly Bloom, at an event he was hosting, and for Bloomsday. And so I did that. And then he said, Jesus, you really understand this text? And I said, yeah, I do. And he asked me to start the adaptation. So it's taken quite some time, but the first thing I did was like, I could see where the punctuation was, the breath. It's not so much punctuation as breath, where Molly draws breath. And it was very clear to me. So that was the first step. And then I started to just gently uncover the arteries of what I believe are the real story that Joyce.
Oh my God. Yeah, I know I'm talking to an Irish person, because just the way you put that, the arteries of the story. I've never heard that phrase, but that's wonderful. Did that come off the top of your head?
Yeah.
I mean, because it's so. This is why the Irish are writers and actresses.
Thank you.
Performers. By the way, let me tell a couple of things. First of all, you mentioned that the guy's name is Colin McCann, right? He co-conceived. He
Correct.
did the piece with you, even though it's a solo piece, that you are doing at the Irish Repertory Theatre on West 22nd Street. It is playing now through. Oh, hold on one moment. Somebody's calling me on my cell phone. Could you take this? And the other thing is important. And it's my rabbi. He thought I was going to tell stories about when he used to whip us with a horsehair whip. Eventually, I grew to like it. Don't. But it's running now through July 17th. It's called Yes, Reflections of Molly Bloom. And it's one of many, many shows that you've done at the Irish Rep. Do you feel like you have sort of a home there off Broadway with
I
Charlotte
do.
and all those people.
Oh, yes. I love Charlotte and Kieran. I mean, I go back a long way with them. I was in the very first two productions at their current space in 22nd Street in 1995. The two plays were Same Old Moon by Geraldine Aron and Juno and the Paycock by Sean
That's a
O'Casey.
masterpiece. That's one of
Yeah.
the greatest. Yeah, yeah.
So, and being a Dubliner, it was, a no-brainer at
Well,
the time.
speaking of Dubliners and things like, I mean, you've immersed yourself for like 25 years now in James Joyce's Ulysses specifically. I mean, are you going to be tackling like Finnegan's Wake at any point soon? Like River, run! What? No.
Well, I already have started looking at Finnegan's Wake. I've already started having a look at it. I am heavily influenced by James Joyce, and I really feel it's like a family member. Not to say that he is, but his work, it's very comforting to me and very sort of familiar to me. And it's just I have a love like for him and for his work, and an understanding of who he is and what he was doing, and an appreciation for it, as do many people. Yes, I am having a look at Finnegan's Wake. I don't know, I haven't told anyone that, but
Scoop, big scoop. That's
but I've been asked by Colin McCann to adapt one of his novels for the stage, and
Colin McCann's novels, not
yes,
okay.
yeah, one of his novels, and so called Zoli, and so I have started working on that as well, and I mean I enjoy it. I enjoy the work of being alone with this, and maybe if I'd had a different education and a different approach to life, I mean, we are who we are and where we are, but maybe I would have gone into writing myself. But I guess it's never too late.
It's not like you're 87. I mean, for crying out loud. Let me ask you though. Also, I mean, everything has been about Joyce and Molly and Joyce and Molly. But what about what's like besides her? Your other favorite role that you have ever played?
Oh, my favorite. Actually, probably more so than Molly Bloom.
George Eliot?
Yeah, yes. I loved that role. And I was involved from an early stage of the script being developed and written. I spent several months with the writer, and I originated the role. And I read, oh my God, I can't explain to you. It was spiritual and ghostly for me. I felt like that woman just came into me and was, before I went on stage, she was with me. And, it was truly a religious or spiritual experience for me. And I believe it was my greatest work. And I do believe that, really good art sometimes, I don't take credit for it. I take credit for, I'm not a religious person. I don't practice.
Oh, shame on you. You should be Orthodox Jewish, but
I should be. I should be.
You should.
But I have a deep, deep, deep spiritual and understanding. And, I do pray all the time.
Wait. You're not a religious woman. And you
but
pray
I pray.
more than the average person. So how do you pray? What do you go like, hello, wall, let me pray to you. What do you do?
No, I pray to the dead. I pray to people who were here and that who have, and I believe they are still here. I believe in that. I believe in reincarnation. I believe that even science. I believe that my body is made up of atoms and molecules that belong to another person. So therefore, that is a type of reincarnation.
So do you ever have that thing like, oh, I feel I was a 13th century
No,
No, none of that.
no,
No.
no,
15th
no, I
century
don't.
prep, no.
No. No, none of that.
John F. Kennedy reborn prep. No, none of that. No.
No. I'm humble. I'm extremely humble. But I pray for, like, for example, before I go on stage, for Molly, I pray to James Joyce, and I say, I'm scared and I'm nervous going out on stage and doing a 90-minute monologue by myself. And I want to do you justice, and I want to do your work justice. And can you please be with me or give me some strength? And I feel that they do. And whether, that is true or not, it helps me. And
I mean, if they start talking back, you belong on a
they don't.
couch. But it's just a one-way conversation. Then you're
Yeah.
then it's I pray towards them, but as long as there's no waves coming back at you, you're still okay.
I do, but I do feel, I do feel a presence. I do feel a great warmth and comfort come over me when I do ask, when I do reach out to people that are gone. And it was the same when I played George Eliot. I really, that woman I felt in the wings. I really did. I felt her presence.
We didn't mention, by the way, I should say that the play we're talking about is called A Most Dangerous Woman, that you did, and pardon me for using this language, but you did it in New Jersey. So it would be great if we could see this in New York, but you did do that there. That's the show we're talking about where you played George Eliot, by the way, as a woman, as you mentioned.
And I won awards for that too. So it was, I'm happy to say, it was at the wonderful Shakespeare Theatre of New Jersey. And they're incredible.
Monty J. Monty is the person running.
Yeah. Oh, it's a wonderful theatre. I love working there. I worked there again, actually, a couple of years ago. In 2019, I played the widow, a very sexy widow Quinn in, not widow Quinn, geez, that's the wrong play. The widow in Romeo and Juliet. I'm thinking of Boy the Western World, but in Romeo and Juliet.
Speaking of which, you always have to jump back. Like, what's the last? No, it was 2019, 2018, 20. What did you do during the pandemic? How did you, as a creative, did you just work on the play, this one, or what did you do?
I did. Yeah, I did a bit of. Well, first of all, I had a very mixed pandemic. My mother was unwell. And then my father was unwell, and he passed away. So my husband was not well, and so we had a lot of things going on.
Is he all right? I mean,
yes, no, he's recovered, but he nearly died also. So it's been a very tough couple of years for me. However, I think sometimes when we are in a place of deep pain and a place where we're kind of flattened in life, and I think
you should be Orthodox Jewish.
I should be. Look at this profile. Look at this profile.
I know. Right. Yes.
You tell me.
No, I'm kidding. You're adorable. You got a great nose. Come on. Don't.
Hey, look. Is that not Jewish? I'm telling you.
You're a Briscoe, and I am one too. There you go.
I loved him. So but out of that, I felt it was a great leveler, and something strange, I had a really great time also, because I had nothing, and I felt everybody has nothing, and within the arts, and I felt it was a great leveler, and finally there was silence, and just all this noise before, whether it be, social media, all this competitiveness, all this crap, quite frankly, and art was getting lost. And I felt finally I can breathe and try and create something. So I taught myself how to edit video, professional, and at home here in this tiny little studio apartment, locked away. And I made these videos, and the last one, a series of videos called Alone Together, featuring works of it's hard to explain, but the idea was like the final one, Rising, has won awards, and So what I did was I reached out to artists, friends that of mine all over the world. And what I would do is give them a prompt and direction. And the prompt was rising from the dark into the light. I want you to write something, perform something, choose something that means something deeply personal to you at this very moment. So it was extraordinary what came back to me. So then I was like, oh my God, I have to edit all of these pieces together and create one piece. So I edited using all this footage, creating one film of a journey out of the darkness, deep in from under the ground. I'll send you a link to it. I'm really proud.
It's also on your YouTube, because you have a YouTube channel.
No, it's not. Yeah, no, it's not. It is on the YouTube channel. No, this one is not on the YouTube channel. I'll send you a link to it, and I, let you see what it's like. But
now, speaking of before, because I only have a couple more minutes with you before I have to go. You're staying to play the game, which is what fun. Oh, you're in for fun. But speaking of more theater. You actually ran for a few years a theater company. You created, you founded. Okay. Any regrets about that? About just the mountain that you took on your shoulders?
God, you've done your research. You really know
I have minions who do
it. Oh my God, you're good. No, you're really good.
It was called the Fallen Angel theater company, so it fell at some point, but it ran for a couple of years. But was it just too much or what? Or what,
I'll tell you the story of Fallen Angel. Fallen Angel, I created this theater company. It's a not-for-profit. It still exists.
Oh, sorry.
No, it's okay. We haven't done any work for quite some time because I run it. It's an off-Broadway, and it was very successful off-Broadway theater company, but I'm a one-man band. I did all the marketing, did all the fundraising, all the producing, all the production management for each play. And the idea behind it was that it would be a collective of artists who were tired of actors, who were tired of being employees and wanted to be feeling more empowered, and create a company that we ran as a collective. Of course, most actors don't want to do that. Don't want to, they just want the jobs. Yeah. So I, the reason I do produce plays still with it, but I only produce maybe one every few years because it's exhausting, and and fundraising, and but I am planning something, and it's in the works, and I'm more interested in, I've negotiated a contract with Screen Actors Guild. So Fallen Angel Theatre produced the videos that I.
You were trying alone together, and they right.
Yeah, and the one in particular, Rising. So when I get an opportunity after I finish working on this new go around of Reflections of Molly Bloom, I will be focusing again on Fallen Angel.
Well, we have an angel with us in the Daverhood today. Her name is Aedin Moloney. She's going to be staying on. We're kind of waiting for. Can I have my telephone so I can text the people that we're waiting for to come on at 11 o'clock to play the Today? Okay, that's fine. Good. Okay, that's fine. Sorry, just technical issues here. What, not launching? What the heck? Oh no. Try again. Oh no. Yeah.
You're funny. You're so funny. I tell you something.
I'm not joking. This is like, he says, be right there. So we have coming up David Sheward, who is a theater critic. He writes for theaterlife.com, culturaldaily.com. He was also the former president of the Drama Desk, which is they just had their awards the other day. And
they need to nominate me. They need to put me out there for best performer. I'm waiting.
If you win the Today Yesterday quiz, you get an automatic nomination for next year's Drama Desk Awards. It's just that's the way it works. It's fabulous. Let me also, you know what? Since you're here, let me give you the rules.
Okay.
Because everybody else knows that. No, I don't suppose you've watched the
I'm
previous.
so nervous. I'm so nervous.
Here's the deal. It's simple. We have questions, and each participant gets a question in
Okay.
3 rounds. So the question is worth 2 points if you get it right. If you get it wrong, there's no, you don't get, a slap across the hands with it, anything, no. But one of the other contestants gets to try and answer and get those 2 points.
Ooh.
So, also at the very end, if needs be, we have a tiebreaker question, and that could, decide the game. But we do the tiebreaker whether or not. We just do it for fun. The whole thing is just, there's no prizes. You don't get anything except a Drama Desk nomination.
That's what I was going to say.
So, yeah, and that's it. And also, at some point, you will probably need a pen or some kind of writing implement, since you
Ooh, we better get a pen.
something to write on.
Okay.
So I'm going to let David Sheward into the room here, and I'm going to go away. It's been a
And
delight.
I'm going to get a pen and paper. I'll be right back.
Excellent. You go.
Go, don't go anywhere.
Hello,
Okay.
David Sheward. Hello, David. David, that's Aedin Moloney. She's getting a pen and paper. She's not leaving because she finds you offensive. She's getting her implements for writing. I'm Rabbi Sal Solomon. You, of course, know Dave Lefkowitz, who's going to be talking to you in a moment. But shalom, David. David, you talk to Aedin while I go away for 30 seconds.
Dave. Hi, David. How are you?
Morning.
Oh my
Good
God.
morning.
I'm really nervous about this quiz.
What are you nervous about?
The questions, I'll get everything wrong.
Well, it's nothing to be nervous about. It's not like Jeopardy. The questions are very tangential and kind of like I can't even get, like he'll say today is the birthday of some famous person and their name sounds like fish. It'll be a question about fish.
Okay.
Something like that.
Oh, well, I walked in. I don't even know what you guys were talking about. But hello, something about fish. I
Yes.
kind of missed it, which is fine. I should make a fish joke of some kind, but I guess fin-ish. Fin. That's all.
Fish.
Yeah.
All right. Anyway, how are you, Dave? How was your week?
Oh, fine. It was fine. It was rather a lot going on. It's the last week of school, so I'm finishing up with school.
Right.
And we had the Tony Awards on Sunday and the Drama Desks Awards on Tuesday. So that was exciting. And I saw Mikhail Baryshnikov in The Orchard, which was very weird.
It's a version of the Cherry Orchard.
Yes, it's an adaptation of the Cherry Orchard with a robot arm and a robot dog and all kinds of weird stuff.
Wow, that sounds really amazing.
Yes.
Okay. All right. Was it amazing, or you haven't written the review yet?
I thought that it was kind of distracting. A lot of good acting and some very interesting scenes, but there was too much going on that I felt was not central to the play itself.
Also, I don't think you know this, but the robot dog has been subbing for Beanie Feldstein Wednesdays and Saturdays in Funny Girl. So it's just
yes.
I've not gotten the reviews Julie Benko has, but close. But it's really good for a robot dog.
Yes.
Anyway, what did you think of the Tony? As Leslie is trying to log on, what did you think of the Tony Awards, David?
I thought they were fine. I watched all 4 hours. The first hour on Paramount Plus, and then the rest on CBS. I thought it was one of the better shows recently. I was a little disappointed that they didn't include. The first hour was on Paramount Plus streaming. Right. And in the primetime CBS edition, they didn't refer to any of the awards that were handed out then. Not even the special award to Angela Lansbury.
Well, she didn't show. I mean, if she had shown up, I think CBS would have kind of
maybe
to the 3 hour thing, but she wasn't there,
Maybe.
And then Carriou apparently, I didn't see his bit, but apparently he's starting to, get a little bit like,
Oh, Len Carriou?
Yeah.
Oh yes, he said the new gay city chorus or something like that, which was instead of the New York City gay men's chorus. Right. But people,
it's a mistake, an honest mistake.
It's an honest mistake, yes.
No, I saw him off Broadway a couple of years ago, and he was fine, but you could tell he was fumbling for lines a little bit. And
is he
I thought it was part of his character.
Yeah, is that the Blue Bloods? Is he still doing Blue Bloods?
Yeah, I imagine I'm guessing he is, but that's one line at a time, and it's different. It's Anyway, Leslie, are you? Hello.
Hello, I'm coming in and out. I don't know what's going on. Bear with me.
All right, but at least we have your voice. We do have your voice. Oh,
Oh,
hello,
there you
welcome
are.
back.
No. I'm trying. Okay, all right. I'm trying to put myself on my computer, but I can't do both simultaneously.
Now, Leslie Hoban Blake is a theatrical director. In fact, she feels, Aedin, that she may have directed you in something in the way back. Does that ring a bell?
It does indeed.
Hey, Dean, good morning. I'm so sorry to be so inept. I directed you in a reading of Sheila Walsh's something or other.
That's right. That's
Yes.
right. Yeah.
It's lovely to see
Yes.
you. I'm sorry that
Likewise.
better on this. I'm
I
having
remember that place, Something or Other. What a really good title.
something or other by starring Aedin Moloney.
Oh God.
Something. Did she play,
Congratulations on your Molly Bloom, by the way.
did she play Something or Other?
Sorry.
Now,
Did you-
I did promise.
Leslie, did you get to see it? Did you get to
I didn't get to see it, but I wasn't going to theater. I was immunocompromised, and so I had a
Oh,
whole thing going on. But I did read your incredible reviews, and I'm very happy for you. I really am. I think it's a wonderful
thank you
idea.
so much.
And then
Thank
the
you
show
so
is
much.
running for a couple more weeks. As we speak, it's still off Broadway at the
Oh,
Irish
yeah.
Contemporary Theater. And I
They
did
have-
promise Aedin that if she wins the Today Yesterday quiz, she gets an automatic Drama Desk nomination. So this is
So it's about bloody time, I tell you.
You're right. I'd vote for
Bollocks
that.
out there. I'm breaking my bollocks on the stage.
Well,
Jesus
actually,
Christ,
I
it's
thought
been
that was
20
I
years.
thought that was
all right. So we made the introductions. Leslie Hoban Blake, David Sheward, Aedin Moloney, all here to play our weekly Today Yesterday trivia quiz. I've explained the rules to Aedin. Oh my God, I forgot. I'm the recalcitrant one. I forgot to load up my roller die, which I have to do right now. Not the main thing, but one of the things that I have to do is why is it doing it this way? I don't know. Let's kill
That's
that.
what you said last night.
Oh! I'm going to roll a one-sided die. So, Aedin, since you are a brand new, very special guest in the Daverhood, could you kindly think of a number between 1 and 6 and tell me what it is?
8.
That's 8.
Ain't no
explain the
word.
rules again.
A number between 1 and 6, please.
Come on, give me 8. Okay. How about
Do it in Gaelic.
Oh, I missed
Four.
it. Did you say 4?
4? 4. Yeah, 4.
4.
Oh,
I
because
want 8.
there was an 8 right behind your head. That's why.
Oh, that's okay. Got it. There was also a 4.
Also before, yeah.
Leslie, can you hear me?
I can hear you. I can't see you. I'm so sorry. I'm trying my best here.
Pick a number between 1 and 6 and let me know what it is, please.
6, please.
Leslie, of course, with a 6. David Sheward, you're 3 usually.
3. I will pick 3.
David Sheward is 3. I'm going to roll. What a game this is going to be. I'm rolling the die. It came up actually a number 3. Congratulations, David Sheward. So do you want to go first, second, or third?
I'll go first. Why not?
David Sheward going first. And then going to roll the die again. Comes up Aedin. It came up number 4. Would you rather go second or third?
Oh God, I'm so scared. I'll go second.
Wow, brave.
You
And
took
then-
my place, Aedin, but it's okay.
It's nothing to be scared of.
yeah.
I'll go third, David. Obviously, you don't have to roll anything. You just
It's
look
not
at
like
it.
we're, on the Hollywood squares or anything.
We're not. I'm leaving. I'm sorry. That's what I signed up for.
All right, here's the first question that goes directly to David Sheward. And by the way, Aedin, the one thing I neglected to mention is that even if it's kind of tangential, the idea is that all these questions are based on things that happened today in history. This is June 18th.
Oh God, I have no idea what happened today. Look at my phone out.
No
It's a
cheating.
jumping off place. It's not really what it's about. You'll see as we
Yeah,
start.
let's see.
And there's no looking at cell phones. There's no, you
No,
gotta
no.
either
No,
answer the way they are. And most of them are multiple choice. So David Sheward, it was June 18th, the year 618, which is,
Okay.
you remember. Li Yuan is coronated Emperor of China, which initiates 3 centuries of the Tang Dynasty. Which of these is false about the Tang Dynasty?
Oh,
I thought it was going to be about the drink tank. Okay.
No, that would have been good. No. A, if you wanted to be in the Imperial Civil Service, you had to have some talent as a poet. B, the dynasty's second emperor likened himself to a boat and the people to water. Citizens could either keep him afloat or sink him. C, the dynasty's third emperor banned women from the court, a decision not reversed until well after the Tang dynasty ended. Or D, much like the 2022 Tony Awards, the Tang dynasty embraced diverse religious and ethnic groups.
Interesting. Now, any of the I being such a scholar on the Tang dynasty, I should know this, but let's see. The poet, that sounds like it's real. The water and the boat sounds real. Women, they all sound real. They all sound plausible. So I'm gonna say D, the diverse one, is not true. I think you just made that up.
So you're saying it is not true that the Tang dynasty embraced diverse religious and ethnic groups?
Yeah, sure. Yes, I will say that.
Final answer?
Yes.
Oh, well, we've had some diverse opinions here, but that is not the correct one. I'm afraid, David Sheward, you do not get a point. So we have a steal opportunity from either Aedin or Leslie. I'm going to roll the die. It came up Aedin's 4.
Tell Aedin that she can always plug her show.
Yeah, and if you don't know the
Go
answer,
for it, Aedin.
you can just
Okay.
give the website.
Okay.
Yeah.
So what if I to choose something that's not true or something that is true? Not
true. The one you're looking
Okay,
for
the women thing is not true.
is that your final answer?
Yes.
She said it with great authority.
Oh, women power! It is 2 points for Aedin. Turns out the Tang dynasty.
Congratulations, Aedin. Good start.
Very good.
Women held high-level posts, and even the courtesans were very well respected.
Exactly. That's where I thought it was the courtesans thing. They're not without women. They need women.
Poetry were very important to the Tang dynasty.
As Molly Bloom says in Reflections of Molly Bloom at the Irish Red, she says the world should be ruled by women, not men.
Is it already? Anyway. Oh! Staring darts at me. All right, here we go. Let's move on. Next question, though, goes directly to you, Aedin. So if you get this right, you'll have 4 points. You're already on the board, which is wonderful and amazing. So here we go. You are well on the way to a Drama Desk nomination.
It's about second time.
Yeah, he has no authority to do this. Just so you know.
I know.
You know how you get a Drama Desk nomination? You design a wig, you have fight direction, and you use puppets. So,
I did all of that. I use a scarf as a puppet. I designed my own hair. I have hair extensions. I'm sorry. And what was the third one?
And you have fight choreography.
Look at the bruises on my arm. For God's sakes. It's a very physical show. You gotta go.
And that way, and if you're unique, then you fit into the unique category.
Can you make Molly gender fluid or transgender or something?
Well, I'm going to be honest with you. I believe that Molly Bloom is a mix of male and female. Well, it's written by a man. However, she's not completely female. And I'm very intimate with this material. I know what I'm talking about. And I believe she is the symbol of life. I don't believe she's one thing or the other. I think she is life. And what do we do as animals, as humans? We choose life. The instinct is to survive. And she's a survivor. And that's what it's about. The final yes is yes to life.
See, I think you just got yourself a Lortel Award and maybe an Outer Critics Circle nomination right there.
Well, I spent 20 years adapting this thing.
Oh, Nobel. I mean, okay. So.
There you go. Pulitzer.
The question.
There's a question here somewhere. Oh, yes. This is for Aedin Moloney for 2 points. The year was 1583. Richard Martin, a London council member, arranges for the first known life insurance policy. He pays nearly £400 on a £5,000 policy for a salt miner named William Gibbons, who dies within a year of the policy. But which of these is false about insurance? A, Sam Walton would not allow workers at Walmart to take out life insurance policies until Walmart itself came up with a policy that was cheaper than other prevailing rates. B. General Custer took out a policy before going into the Battle of Little Bighorn. C. In post-war Japan, so many policyholders were immediately committing suicide, the insurance companies had to put in a 12-month exemption for payouts. Or D. After cutting his finger slicing carrots, guitarist Jeff Beck took out 10 $1 million insurance policies, $1 million per finger. One of these is false.
General Custer.
Is that your final answer?
Yes.
Well, as much as I love ice cream, in this case, Custer does not do it for you. I'm afraid that is not the correct answer, Aedin Moloney. Custer took out a policy before he went to Bighorn.
Wow. Okay.
So,
And Mrs. Custer was very pissed off that he didn't.
really, yeah, well, because
Yeah,
what was it, Bighorn or Little Horn? We always wondered.
It was the little bighorn.
Yeah.
You said that he did take out a policy, right? That is
He did.
true.
That means he did take one out, but it was false. What am I saying? What am I saying now? We're looking for the one that is false.
Right.
Okay.
So his wife would have been happy.
Oh, yeah, right. Yeah, something like that.
You're right, David. It's so convoluted, I couldn't follow it. Sorry.
It was all an elaborate ruse just to get the insurance money.
Now,
Yes, that's right.
I'm going to elaborate on this question for you because it's your question now. So, you
Okay.
have a shot at stealing David. So,
Is it me or Leslie?
I'm saying
It's
you have a
me.
shot at stealing David. You David.
Oh, okay. All right.
You David, me Dave. Yes.
You got Walmart, Japan Suicide, or Guitar Fingers.
Right. Yes. All names of fringe shows at the Hollywood Fringe Festival, by the way. Yeah.
I think a Walmart is true because that bastard is cheap enough to do that. So I like how Aedin is so positive. She just says her answer.
I know, she just puts it right out there.
Yeah. So I think I'll say the Japan Suicide is not true.
Is that your final answer?
Yes.
Oh, Nadine, you're shaking your head. Why? What?
I don't know. I think that's true.
And actually, you are correct, Aedin. That is true. That so many people were going for these policies for their families
Yeah.
that they just had to stop the payouts and say you can't kill yourself for a year if you want the money. So Leslie,
There's a different mindset in Japan. Suicide is basically a national sport, you know.
Jesus. It brings on many changes. And they can
Well,
be
not
very
now,
different.
but it was back then.
Yeah. So Leslie, you have a 50-50 shot at getting 2 points here.
Yeah, well, okay, so Japan is off. It's did we say Walmart was off?
Yeah.
The remaining ones are which would
Oh,
be
Jeff Beck and Walmart. I got it.
Okay.
It's Jeff Beck and Walmart. Okay, I'll say that Jeff Beck insured all of his fingers, probably with Lloyd's of London.
So you're
Who
saying
insure
that
things like
is
that?
true or not
What's
true?
false? What's false?
Oh. So we're going for what's false.
Right.
Oh, well, we both agree. I think I agree with David that Walmart is true. So then it has to be Jeff Beck is false. That's the only one left.
Is that your final answer?
Sure.
Well, normally I play this, but since it's Jeff Beck, I'll just go bring. And then realize that I have stumped the panel. No
It's
point to anybody
Walmart.
on this. What happened with Walmart, and a lot of companies do this, and it's hysterical what they call it. Walmart took out insurance on its own employees, and it's called dead peasant insurance.
Oh.
So if an employee dies, Walmart collects.
Wow.
That's the companies do this. And it's
What?
dead peasant insurance.
I believe that.
That's sick. That is sick.
Oh,
Sick.
Walmart.
Sick.
America, yeah.
Yes,
Oh my
We're not the only ones
God.
who did this, but yes.
you're absolutely right. That is sick.
Oh my God. The sick mentality.
No, you know.
Well, anyway, We move on to our next question, the last in the first round of our Today Yesterday quiz, and this is going directly to Leslie Hoban Blake. Now, Leslie, you're only 2 points behind Aedin,
Okay.
and so you could tie the game right here.
Okay, I like the negative semi-reinforcement. Go ahead.
How is that negative? How is that? I'm giving you like the impetus.
No,
You
no,
can't
no.
tell me
I
this
understand.
now,
I
mate.
understand, but it's okay. It comes from a place of love, David. I know that. Go ahead.
Anyway, Leslie, June 18th, 1815 was a tough day for Napoleon as he loses the Battle of Waterloo in what is now Belgium, and he abdicates 4 days later. Speaking of Waterloo, which of these is false about ABBA? The band.
Oh, I get it.
Okay, here we go. A.
Shall we sing it? Shall we sing it, David? I don't know any words. Excuse me, I have to say, I walked into a place yesterday where I had to be for about 10 minutes for some reason, and they had ABBA playing, and I said, please tell me that that's the only ABBA on the list. Because I couldn't take 10 minutes. Go ahead.
No, they're great songs, Leslie.
Oh, I love ABBA.
In small doses, I agree. Some in small doses. It's being trapped with the whole album is the problem.
Fair enough. Oh, and I take it you wouldn't see their holographic ABBA show that they're doing in Europe.
Oh, I definitely did not buy tickets for that. No.
Fair enough. Okay. Here's the question, by the way, about ABBA. One of these, which of these is false? The others are true. Which of these is false? A, not all the band members are Swedish. B, the band wore funky outfits mainly to exploit a Swedish tax law that says you could deduct clothing only if it wasn't used for daily wear. C, the band denied Madonna the right to sample the song Waterloo in a song she was recording, but she recorded it anyway, sent them the demo, and they still denied it, so it remains a lost track from her catalog. Or D, when ABBA played in the Soviet Union, the band couldn't accept rubles, so they were paid in oil commodities. One of these is false. Only one of these is false.
David, you went to such trouble to write these 4 questions.
Oh
They
my
are so
God.
distinct. They are so,
I'm actually going to
very
reuse these as the
special.
4 questions in the next Seder that we have on Passover, so it's going to be pretty cool.
Oh, Lord.
I'll
Okay.
be after that. Okay.
I'm going to say that
David is
tax law sounds viable. It sounds probably true. The Madonna thing, I think, is hysterically funny that anybody would turn her down. It's like turning Megan down, for anything. So I would go between the Swedish and the oil commodities. I would say that not all the members are Swedish.
So that is false.
It is. Oh, no, wait, that makes it true.
Leslie,
Okay.
it is.
Thank you for reminding me.
Okay.
I would say they were not paid in oil commodities.
So that
D.
that is untrue. That
I'm
would
saying
be,
D is untrue.
D is untrue. Final answer?
Yeah.
Well, I had to get up bright and oily to fool you, Leslie Hoban Blake, because that is not the correct answer. I'm sorry. So yes, they were, because rubles, it was still the Soviet Union. They couldn't, so they gave them oil commodities. I'm going to roll the die here, the single-sided die. It comes up at number 3. So David Sheward, your chance to steal.
So my choices are not all of them are Swedish. The costumes, they made the costumes just for tax purposes.
Specifically for tax purposes.
Or Madonna, they refused Madonna to use.
Madonna refused. Yes, they refused Madonna's request, even after they sent.
I think that's true, because if I were them, I would not want another artist to take my material. And Aedin is shaking her head, but I
agree with you. I agree with you.
Okay, if I were ABBA, I would say, no, Madonna, this is mine. You can't have it. So it's possible they're not all Swedish. One might be Danish or Norwegian. They're all the same, So no, that's
and the letters are gonna pour in on that one, Dave.
I thought I was racist, but oh my goodness.
Oh, that's bad. That's bad.
I'm joking. I know, I'm joking.
trust me.
So I'm gonna go with B, the costumes.
So wait, is that your answer then? Which is the
read the question. Read B.
I'll read it again. Which of these is false about the band, the supergroup ABBA?
Right.
A. Not all the members are Swedish. B. The band wore funky outfits mainly to exploit a Swedish tax law that said you could deduct clothing only if it wasn't used for daily wear. Or C. The band denied Madonna the right to sample the song Waterloo in a song she was recording, but she recorded it anyway, sent them the demo, and they still denied it, so it remains a lost track from Madonna's catalog. One of these is false.
Then I believe B. I'll say B is false. It's very convincing. It sounds very true, but the rest of them sound true also. So I'll go with B. They all sound very convincing.
So you're saying it's the outfit things, right?
This is very well. You did a good job because they all sound very real.
That's
Well,
what I
thank you.
said. He stays up late at night doing these.
Oh, yeah, it was up till 5:30 a.m. and then I slept 4 minutes and then I started doing the show. Here we go. Well, case closed. You got that question wrong, David Sheward.
Oh,
It was
no.
true. They were going to dress like normal people, and then they realized if they dress like that, they'd have to pay taxes on those clothes. So they designed funky clothes, and they wore that instead. Aedin,
Right.
you can build on your lead.
Okay.
Excuse me. If you get this question right, you can get 2 more points.
Go,
Okay.
Aedin, go.
So read the first one again about not being Swedish. Read how.
It's rather complicated. Not all the band members are Swedish.
You sarcastic little.
I'm sorry. Yes.
Isn't he? Thank you, Aedin. Thank you, Aedin. I appreciate that.
Let's see. Which is not true. I think number 1 is not true. A.
So you're saying that they're all Swedish.
Yes.
I'm going to have to bring in the Swedish chef for this one. I stumped the panel again. Oh my God. Because Annie Frid Lyngstad was born in Norway. The others were all actually Swedish. But here's the deal. In 2005, Madonna wrote to ABBA asking if she could use Gimme, Gimme, Gimme in her new song, Hung Up. And ABBA is famously very protective of their catalog, but it was Madonna, and they said yes. So that was the actual true story. It was different song, different situation. And Dave gets 2 more points. I don't actually count the points, but I feel good when I stump the panel.
The house.
Oh.
Aedin, you're on fire this morning. Wow.
The house gets 2 points.
I didn't win. I lost.
Well, but you're 2 points ahead of everybody else as we go into the second round of our. Yeah, no, this goes on for a while. Yes. You don't have
Yes,
a matinee, do you?
I know
I
you.
do. I have 2 shows today.
Oh, wow. All right. So
No, take your time. I'm having too much fun. I'm in no hurry.
is it
Oh,
the 2
that's
o'clock matinee
lovely.
or 3 o'clock? You'll be fine. You'll be
Yeah,
fine.
loads of time.
You're on the west side, right? Where you live on the good. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. This next question though goes directly to David Sheward as we begin the second round of our today yesterday quiz. And David, guess what?
It's 3 clues in the news.
It is 3 clues in the news. Oh
Oh.
yes, my friend. So here's the deal. 3 clues in the news. Aedin doesn't know this, but you got to pay attention anyway in case he doesn't get it. I'm going to toss out 3 words. These words are not connected to each other, but each word is going to make you think of another word. All 3 of them will make you think of this 4th word. And that word has something to do with something that happened in the news and current events over the past week or so. Okay. But so, for example, but not in news terms, if I were to say couch vegetable mashed, you would say
TV dinner.
oh, couch
Potato.
vegetable.
Potato.
Oh God. Oh,
Yeah.
slow.
That's the.
Oh my
that's what I'm looking at. Yeah.
And
Okay. So here's the deal.
Irish reference.
Oh, yeah, right. Of all people, not to get potato. Of all people. Anyway.
Aedin, he does this to everybody. It was not special for you. That's the standard.
Oh my God.
Just so you know.
Jesus
Wasn't for
Christ.
the other Irish person on the panel. No.
All right.
Oh,
Now, David
that's
Stewart,
okay.
here are your 3 clues in the news. Brew,
Brew.
fruit,
Fruit.
doctor.
Doctor.
Doctor?
Okay. Brew, fruit, doctor. Okay. Strange.
Oh, that's a good
Is that your
one.
final
Excellent.
answer?
Yes.
Excellent, David. Quick and good.
Yes, David, you are obviously in the loop when it comes to theater. That is the correct answer. 2 points for David Sheward because it's Strange Brew, of course, the Cream song, Strange Fruit, the Billie Holiday song, and Doctor Strange, the character, referring to.
The movie, the Marvel Universe.
Oh, well, not only that, but what the Tony winning Best Musical last Sunday night was
Oh,
A
Strange
Strange
Loop.
Loop.
Oh,
Yes.
oh,
So,
goodness. Okay.
and that's how it
Oh.
worked. Aedin's going like, oh, okay.
Oh God, I'm in trouble.
No, you're
I'm
not.
I'm in trouble.
Musical that I realized Doctor Strange and Strange Fruit. I'm not too familiar with Strange Brew, so I figured it had to be strange.
Right. No, and I was stuck on the word coffee. Aedin, these either come to you or they don't. If you overthink them, it doesn't make it any easier.
God, I don't even know what's in the news.
Oh, yeah. So when you're doing theater, that's nothing else. It's like I'm
Well-
thinking Molly Bloom. Who cares about anything else?
Well, throw her a James Joyce question at least, all right?
We'll try. But this next question does go to Aedin. It
Okay.
is not about James Joyce. It is, however, a multiple choice. So are
Okay.
you ready? Here's your question. The year
Yeah.
was 1847. Thomas Martin Easterly, using the daguerreotype process, takes the earliest known photograph of who or what? A. John Quincy Adams. B. James Monroe. C. An eclipse. D. Lightning.
Ah. Oh, mother of God. Jesus Christ almighty.
I just guess, you know.
certainly not
So
gonna
it's
do it.
so hang on, it's the very first photograph, is that right?
No,
That-
the very first photograph of this particular thing. In other words, all these things were photographed. So it's not the first photo ever.
Right.
This is like the first photo ever of
Okay.
John Quincy Adams. The first photo.
Lightning. Lightning.
Ever. Is that your final answer?
Yeah, I don't know. I'm guessing. Lightning.
Well, you have struck it rich with 2 points, Aedin Moloney, with the first photograph of lightning. 2 more points. You are in the lead. Well done. John
That was a
Quincy
good guess.
It was a great guess. And it's just this little streak on like a daguerreotype. It's back from 1847, which, there were pictures before then. But yeah, Leslie.
I thought you were giving her that question because it's the year of the potato famine also.
Was it really?
Yes, that's the famous Black 47. Come on.
Mm.
See,
More
Aedin, if they're
potatoes.
not Irish, they don't remember.
No, they haven't a clue how many million people died.
Right. Right.
I don't know why they didn't just go to McDonald's. But anyway, just want to let you know that John Quincy Adams, I didn't know this, was the very first president who was photographed at home in 1843. That was so it wasn't an office. It was pretty cool. All right, we have our third question in round 2, going directly to Leslie Hoban Blake. Now, Leslie,
Yes.
you're 4 points behind Aedin, 2 points behind David. You got to get in the game here. You can do it. I know you can. And this is not a multiple choice.
Oh dear.
But it is up your alley. It's a movie question. 1953 was the year. Winning the Golden Bear at the 3rd Berlin International Film Festival is Henri-Georges Clouzot's thriller, The Wages of Fear, about a guy driving a truck on dangerous roads with a truck filled with nitroglycerin. In 1977, William Friedkin did an American remake of the material starring Roy Scheider in the Yves Montand role. What was the name of that film?
Oh, if you'd asked me a question about Wages of Fear, which starred my darling Yves Montand, I could have told you. But the remake, let me see. I know the remake. I saw the remake. It didn't even come close to the original. And I cannot for the life of me. Wait, give me a second. Let me just think of it. I'm really sorry. I don't know. David Sheward, do you know this one?
Well, or don't
No,
say
no,
it.
I'm not asking him for the answer. I just want to know if he knows, yes or no.
I'm not saying.
Oh,
Okay.
okay.
I know so much about the wages of fear. Oh dear Lord, Roy Scheider. Roy Scheider movies. No, it wasn't Jaws. I'm tapped. I can't. Yeah, I might as well not waste your time.
Or give out Aedin Moloney's website because that's
I'll give out Aedin Moloney's website and go see Aedin Moloney at Play Molly Bloom. She's all that and a lot more.
well, we're going to find out how much more in terms of dice rolling. We're going to roll the die, and it comes up, Leslie, 6. Hold on. Comes up. Did anybody have a.
They want me to have that question because of the wages of fear. That's what it's doing.
I keep rolling the die here, so I'm just trying to. Okay, 6. 4. Somebody's a 4. Who's a 4?
It's
Aedin.
me.
Aedin, you're number 4.
I love both versions of the film because I love thrillers and scary films and all that. But I'm desperately trying. I actually enjoyed the remake, but I'm trying to think of the name of it. Oh man, and I can see it too. Oh, I'm going to have to pass. I need more coffee.
What is the name of your website, by the way, so we can give it to people? Do you have one?
Oh, I do have a website, aedinmaloney.com.
Aedin, so it's AEDINMOLONEY.com. So anytime you can't think of an answer, if you just want to throw that up as a plug, aedinmaloney.com. You're still
Or-
in the lead, by the way, but now.
Molly Bloom with the Irish rap.
Well, yes, but David Sheward, this is your question now. If you do know the answer,
You know what? I'm sort of torn that I didn't see it, and I got a strange feeling that it's the same title and this is a trick. Or it's either The Wages of Sin or it's the same title, The Wages of Fear. I think it's a trick. So I'm gonna say The Wages of Sin.
is that your final answer?
Yes.
Well, I'm afraid I have to be sincere here and say that is not the correct answer. And I'll throw out one clue for you. The sequel did cast kind of a spell.
A spell?
Yeah. It was a terrible title. One of the reasons that the sequel apparently flopped was people.
Was the title?
What's the
It
title?
was a terrible, ridiculous title that people thought was like an Exorcist kind of film, except it wasn't. It was the name of the truck, which was
Oh,
anybody?
The Big Truck.
No. The
human
map.
spell. I don't know.
No, the name of this, Leslie, you'll go like, oh yeah, it was called
I know.
Sorcerer.
Oh yeah.
Okay.
Jesus.
Yeah.
Yes, you're correct. Oh.
Oh well. I didn't think I'd stumped the panel on that one. Oh well. Now we move on to round 3 of our Today Yesterday quiz here live on Dave's Gone By, June 18th, 2022.
I just like to get on the board this round. I feel embarrassed not being on the board.
Well,
even.
we're on the board of the drama desk, so there you go.
Oh.
Which, by the way, if Aedin, she's still in the lead. If she wins this game, she might get. If you get 4 more points, Aedin, we will give you. Forget the nomination. We'll give you a lifetime achievement award from the drama.
Oh God, that'd be great.
Right then and there. I can make it happen. All right, David Sheward, though, you get this next question directly.
Okay.
Oh, shame on me. I didn't put the year on this, but it happened June 18th at some point in the late 1900s.
Sometime in the 19th century.
Yeah. A rare 4.0 level earthquake hits Greenland and causes a tsunami in the town of Nuugaatsiaq. But which of these is false about Greenland?
Right.
A, in 1988, they retired the national dish of Greenland because it was made from a fish that was going extinct. B, in 1946, the United States offered $1 billion to Denmark to buy Greenland. C, although the towns have roads, there are no roads between towns. Or D, no international flights go directly to Greenland.
All right, let me see here. So the first one was the national fish was extinct.
Right, the national dish.
Oh, the national dish.
Was no longer made a national dish because the fish in it was going extinct.
Okay, and they asked Denmark for $1 billion to buy it.
Mm-hmm.
What year was that?
1946,
Oh, interesting. Okay.
if it's true. And then C,
there-
although towns have roads, there are no
Roads?
roads between towns,
There are roads in the towns, but not between towns.
right? Or
And
D,
no
from other countries in the world, you cannot take an international flight directly to Greenland.
All right. So, so that's why everybody went to Newfoundland, and we have that musical.
It came from away. Yeah.
Yeah. All right. All right. So,
They're not close together, you know.
oh yeah. What do you got them Tim Hortons? To
No.
Let's make fun of those northern people more, David.
Actually,
Yep.
I think there was an
Let's get some
episode.
angry letters from Swedes.
Yeah, I think there was an episode of The Amazing Race where they went there and they were all lost when they went between the towns.
It's Minnesota. What the hell are you doing?
Isn't this the same? It's sort of all-purpose up their northern accent.
No, you don't know, you know.
Well, I think the thing with the roads, which is false, right?
Which of these is false?
I think the thing with the roads. Well, I don't know. I think the thing with the roads is the internet. I'm trying to remember that episode of The Amazing Race, and if they actually got into Greenland, I think I'm going to say number 4 is false because I believe in that episode of The Amazing Race is they flew into Greenland. So I'm going to say 4.
Is that your final answer?
Yes.
Well, I'm afraid I'm going to turn your mood from green to black. That is not true. You can't go from New York to Greenland. You can't go to Paris. You've got to stop in another place first and get there. So there are no direct international flights to Greenland.
I just have to say that I love amongst all of us, and there are many degrees on the board here, that the reference point is The Amazing Race to find out. Not when I was in so-and-so's class back at Yale, you know. It's,
well, an hour ago we were talking.
Greenland.
What? Sorry, Dave. What?
Lowest common denominator.
I've never been to Greenland. So how else could I know?
But think about it. Like an hour ago, we were literally talking and delving into James Joyce's Ulysses, and now we're talking about The Amazing Race.
Greenland, I know.
We just go wherever. That's the nature of this program.
Hey, Dean, do you have any facts about how many people read Ulysses during the 2 years of the pandemic, if any?
I don't have the facts, but that is something I would like to know.
I think that's the sort of thing that people say, well, now I'm just going to say, except we didn't know it was going to be 2 years. That's the problem.
I did it.
2 years.
I did a virtual version for the Irish Rap. I filmed it, which won some awards, and I shot it down in Miami in 3 hours on an iPhone. But I do regularly receive messages, emails, and there was even a review this week where the critic was saying, I'm going to read Ulysses. So I'm delighted that, my performance and my adaptation have influenced people enough to want to read certain texts.
Yes.
But they have to do it the modern way. You have to tweak it line by line. So what they got to do is read it out loud. That's what I recommend. As soon as they read it out loud, it starts to flow and make sense. Now, here's the deal. That was in terms of the question here. That was for David Sheward. He did not get it right. We had a roll of the die, and the roll comes up. Wait, number 3 is David's roll. So I should roll the dice while we were doing that. There's a 5. There's a 2. Come on. There's 3 again. Come on. There's a 1. Good Lord. 6. Leslie Hoban Blake.
Okay. So I made a note of it. The paper is just my notes on the question.
Sure.
So it's they took the fish off the menu, $1 billion for the island, and no roads between places. I'm going to say, I think Greenlanders are really good folk. I really do. And I would say that in 1988, they were forward thinking enough to take fish off the menu because I think they believe in that, as good folk do.
So you're saying that's false?
Oh, no, I was saying it was true.
Yeah.
Every one of these.
I'm always getting those things mixed up. I can never remember.
We haven't had it all.
Left. Okay, thank you for reminding me. Let's go with no roads between the towns because it sounds absolutely insane.
Is that your final answer?
Yeah, sure.
Well, Leslie Hoban Blake, you are certainly not a Rhodes Scholar. That is not the correct answer, I'm afraid. It really is. The places themselves, but to get to other things, you got to use a boat. So, Aedin with 4 points.
2 left.
2 more.
Okay. So listen, tell me, will you read out the second one, the $1946 billion buy?
Yes, I'll try and do it in an Irish accent. No, I won't. Being something. Here we go. In 1946, the United States offered $1 billion.
Good. That's actually great. Good. Go on, keep going.
My dad listened to the Clancy Brothers all the time. The U.S. offered $1 billion to Denmark to buy Greenland.
So Greenland, listen, I'm really ignorant here. So Denmark actually own Greenland. Is that correct? And the United States offered that. I think that is the correct answer. I think that's false.
So you think the United States did not
offer $1 billion to buy Greenland? I think
final answer?
Final answer.
If I had $1 billion, I would be the United States, and I would try to buy Greenland. And they did. Not only that, Donald Trump offered money to try and buy.
I know.
Greenland. I would love it. It would be so great to have like a 51st state or something of Greenland. But here's what happened.
I'm glad they refused it, because you know what? There would be roads and there would be buildings, and it would just the most beautiful country, unspoiled. So
Starbucks on ice.
They refused it. Yes.
Greenland
are smart. Or Denmark are smart.
Well, here's the deal, though. The true thing, or I'm sorry, the false thing, the correct answer was that the national dish of Greenland is a meat soup called soissar, which is made of seal, whale, reindeer, and or seabirds. So nothing to do, there was no story of anything being endangered or taken off. It's just the national dish is soissar, which is a fishy kind of meaty soup. So there you go. Oh boy. We have still...
If you're talking about your accent, it should be the chieftains you're listening to.
They don't sing. The chieftains was all instrumental.
The Clancy Brothers were great as well.
Oh,
They were. I like the Clancy Brothers.
I love the Clansons. We grew up with the Chieftains too, and the soundtrack for Barry Lyndon. And by the way, who is the keeper of like the legacy of the music, and when Chieftains material has to be re-released, or any of that?
Well, I believe it belongs to my late father, because they're his arrangements,
right.
And many of his compositions, and him. He's kind of the, though I'm not sure now, everything is in flux. His legacy, his personal legacy, certainly would go to my mother.
My mother was cremated with 4 of her favorite things. One of them was a Chieftains album.
Oh, how wonderful.
Just because that's what we thought she would have liked to have wherever she was going.
Yeah. Well, I put my dad's tin whistle into his pocket, where he always carried his breast pocket. And,
we are superstitious, are we not? Yes.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. Yeah. Well, I was going to make jokes, but that was too touching to you.
Yes, do not. Do not make jokes there, no.
But
that's okay. My father had a great sense of humor. It is completely fine. He would love this. He would love every aspect of this.
Well, he should have watched the show then. We were on for about a decade before he came on, so he could have taken his Saturday mornings. I'm not bitter. So, but Aedin, you have to be bitter about this. Here's the issue, Aedin. You're in the lead. You have 4 points.
Oh, yeah.
And this next question is for you. You can get 6 points. However, this next question is 3. Thank you. It's 3 clues in the news.
Oh boy.
You know how it works now. So here it goes.
Okay, go ahead.
So you know how it works. It's 3 words. The words themselves are not connected to each other. Each of these words is connected to a word that we're looking for that has something to do with something in the news. Here we go.
Okay.
Second, pulse, going.
Going, as in
Going.
going.
That's the Long Island way of saying Going.
Going.
Where you going, Barcelona?
I haven't a clue. It could be a sports question. It could be something. I have no idea what's going on in the news. All
So
I
you
do.
want to take a guess or think of, because it could be word blank or blank word. That's kind
Okay.
of how, like,
Say it again. What are they?
well, the example, the original
No,
one was
this one,
couch,
one,
this,
get
and
this one.
but this one is, the words are second, pulse, going.
Leslie's upside. Oh, there you go. She was upside down for a second.
Oh,
I have no idea. I'm passing on this. I'm passing.
so just tell everybody it's aidingmaloney.com. That's
It's
that's all the
Aedin.
answers
It's
to your website.
AEDmaloney.com. Yes, reflections of Molly Bloom at the Irish Repertory Theatre, July 17th. Looking for a nomination for a Drama Desk Award, which I really deserve.
She's
Don't
playing a nurse
beg.
somewhere, too. It says
Although
she's-
I would get
it says she's-
None of us are on the nominating committee, so.
I know.
Wait, Troy, a quick question before let me get through this question and remind me in like a minute or two. 5 1 1 1 6. Leslie, are you there?
I'm I can hear you. I can't see you.
Okay, so let me give you this question then. It's 3 clues in the news. David,
Yeah, hello.
she's back.
Doing a bunch of stuff because
Sorry, I moved the phone and I disappeared and then I froze. Now
Well,
I'm
she's giving us the
frozen.
finger. I don't know what the hell's going on with that.
this is like
I'm
watching.
frozen.
This is like watching a video of Cherry Orchard online, which I had to do last night.
Oh, it was online. Oh, I thought you went to see it, the Barishnikov thing.
But in person, and then I did the online version, and the screen kept freezing. But anyway, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
But Leslie,
I'm exactly like the cherry orchard, David. Everybody says so.
well, at least you're branching out. But you know, Leslie, I'm sorry about that.
Those
I
are
will
cherry.
leave you alone.
Those, by the way, those are cherry blossoms in the back there. On the those are cherry blossoms.
Oh,
So
but I heard that show was the
Beautiful.
Pits. All right, Leslie, we have 3 clues in the news. Get it? The Pits. Cherry Pits.
no, you're doing another one.
No, we didn't get
Oh,
this
I
one.
passed.
Oh,
I
sorry. I'm
passed.
sorry. Okay.
All
All
right.
right. Wait.
Try
I
to-
wrote it down.
Yeah.
Okay. So it's. I'm sorry. It's going, second, and pulse. So I've got that, but I was so busy with my thing, I didn't have time to think. Pulse beat, heartbeat, second base, going home. Home. That's second. I'm gonna say base. BASE.
Is that your final answer?
It's as good as any other you're gonna get from me right now. So take it while you can.
Well, I'm afraid you are off base with that answer. David Sheward, you can type.
AIDenMaloney.com. Go ahead.
Are we okay? All right. It's
This is your question now, David.
right.
Yeah.
All right. Now the only thing I can think of now, it worked for me last time when I knew 2 of the 3. So I think it's coming.
Yeah, your sex life is none of my business. But what is the word that you hope to give us, David Sheward?
Coming.
That was my word too, David. It's not the one.
Well, I get second coming, coming and going. I get, but no. I'm afraid that is not the answer. I've stumped you all there because what did the Fed do this week?
Oh, interest rates.
Interest rates.
And so you have second rate,
Oh,
going rate,
Pulse rate, going
pulse
rate.
rate.
oh.
The going
That's
rate.
very
the going rate.
obscure. That's
Also
obscure.
That's obscure?
Oh,
They raised the.
Sure, I agree.
All right.
All
Okay.
right,
It only matters to people who have money, David. That's why, nobody.
Yeah.
Oh, it matters to people who have 401ks and want to retire is what it really matters.
Yeah, okay, well,
Okay. That's
None of which an actor has for the most part.
By the way, Aedin, my wife Joyce, she says hi, and
Hi,
she.
Joyce.
Are you playing a nurse somewhere in something, or have you recently played a nurse?
I saw
I played the nurse in at the Shakespeare Theatre of New Jersey in Romeo and Juliet. So sorry.
Oh, that was a few years ago though, or was it?
That was 2019. Yeah.
Oh, just recent. Yeah. So yeah, we didn't even talk about James Joyce, but not Shakespeare. Go figure. because Shakespeare you can understand.
Aedin does it all.
Now, here's what
Do
you
my
can
best.
do, Leslie Hoban Blake. You can get on the. Oh my goodness, this is interesting. I believe. Well, no. It could still be a tie, depending on how this question goes. I was going to say, Aedin, you had the game in the bag, but maybe not. This question is going to decide a lot of things. Leslie, this goes directly to you for 2 points. The year was 2019, and this.
The answer is Aedin played the nurse in Romeo and Juliet. That's the answer. Go ahead.
Published today in the journal Phytokeys is an article about the Australian bush tomato. Woo!
Oh my God.
Because
It's a potato, not a tomato.
No, but potatoes eat ketchup like crazy. This is their thing. So they're
That's
like
right.
so many Broadway performers, the Solanium plastisexum tomato can change from male to female to hermaphrodite. It has no sexual characteristics. Which of these is false about tomatoes? Okay, you ready, Leslie?
Just tomatoes in general, not the bush tomato,
Not
just
the
tomatoes in
Australian
general.
bush tomato, no.
Okay, thank you.
Or which of these is false? A.
Okay.
Return of the Killer Tomatoes, the sequel to Attack of the Killer Tomatoes, features both Matt LeBlanc and David Schwimmer in pre-Friends early roles. B. When tomatoes first came to Europe, they were yellow, not red. C. At the Heinz factory, if the ketchup pours faster than 0.28 miles per hour, it's deemed too watery and rejected. Or D. Tomato juice is the official state drink of Ohio. One of these.
Now this is true or false. Let me
One
not
of these is
embarrass.
false. All of these
Okay.
are true but one.
Oh, thank you, David. I appreciate that.
Well,
The false.
No, I'm being very serious. Thank you. I appreciate that. I'm not stupid. I see that I'm not doing very well this morning. Matt LeBlanc, David Schwimmer, yellow, watery, tomato juice. Okay.
that's what one time,
Well,
by the way. Yeah.
Yes,
And-
it's a James Joyce stream of consciousness.
And,
It's a stream of tomato consciousness. is
and
what
the
it
Carly Simon song.
is.
Anticipation.
Oh.
Anticipation.
By the way,
Oh
did you see
my
the special Yo Mama's ketchup? It's real. It's all right. It's very tomatoey. It's good. Okay, Leslie, you're
Did you say Idaho was tomato juice?
Ohio.
Ohio.
Oh, Ohio. I thought that was odd. I think Ohio is potato juice, but okay.
There's an off.
Oh Lord. I'm gonna say there are yellow tomatoes. I know that. I'm gonna say Matt LeBlanc and David Schwimmer were not together in that sequel of Killer Tomatoes.
Is that? your
So that's
final
false. Yes, I'm gonna say A.
Well, I'm sure David Sheward was hoping that you would draw LeBlanc on that question so that he would have a chance to steal and tie Aedin Moloney. But Leslie Hoban Blake, you are on the board with 2 points. It is false. They were not in that movie at all. Do you know who was? A young George Clooney was in Return of the Killer Tomatoes.
I thought he was in the I thought he was okay.
Yeah.
I thought he was in the original. I didn't
He
realize
might
he
have
was
been
in-
also, but John Astin starred in pretty much all the later Killer Tomatoes films. There were 4 of them.
How many were there?
There were a number of sequels. Killer
Was it like
Tomatoes Strike
Sharknado,
Back.
Tomato Nado? Oh, that would be cute. Tomato Nado.
Tomato.
Leslie, are you telling me you never saw 1991's Killer Tomatoes Eat France?
I know.
That was one of the actual sequels. Yes, it really was.
Oh
It's
my
called-
God.
It's called Turnabout is Fair Play. Is that the idea?
Was Yves Montand in that one?
No,
Well, that's why I didn't see it. No, he wasn't. He wasn't. That's why I
Oh my
didn't see it.
God, you guys are so
But
funny.
here's the
I
deal.
visited Yves Montand and Simone Signoret's grave at the Père Lachaise Cemetery. I was really
We were there with you. We went when we were all in France.
That's
with the
right.
American
That was that
Military.
same trip. I forgot, David. I forgot we were all together on that trip. Wow.
And I actually took a lighter and burned the Chieftains album, and I sprinkled that over Yves Montand. Yes, Dave Sheward.
And the credits,
Didn't do
the tomato credits were not on the gravestone.
No, I well, it was a
Nor
kind of
were
a
the little
seedy thing to do.
seeds. No,
All
no,
right,
no.
hold on a minute.
Oh, okay. Well, David, nice shorts, David. Okay.
There's a leg.
Underwear. Woo-hoo! Yeah.
Well, at least he's wearing some kind of pants, I mean,
Woot
the awkward.
woo!
Show some pubes. There we go. Look at that. Anyway, by the way,
David will do anything to win.
I think David's on the phone. So, oh, he's getting. Okay. Now, here's the interesting thing, because Leslie, you are spoiler. I mean, we love you dearly, but you just spoiled David's day, because by answering that question correctly, you made Aedin Moloney our champion of the quiz with 4 points. We're still going to do the question,
The tiebreaker.
just for fun, but you don't need it. Aedin, this is you got that trauma destination.
What are you talking about? You can't add up. You're worse than me with the 8.
Now, Aedin, I do want you to know that if you get the tiebreaker right, you're up for a Pulitzer. Finally,
Okay.
not necessarily the.
Like the Pulitzer.
So here's the deal. This
Is
question
David back? I can't see on my screen. Okay.
Oh, yeah, David's here. Yeah. So we have all 3 of you. Here's how the final question works. This is the reason we asked you to get a pen and paper. So instead of it going to each of you individually, I'm going to ask the question, and all of you will write down your answer, and then I'll read the question again, give a 3, 2, 1 countdown, and then you will hold up your answer to the camera, all at the same time, and then we'll see who gets what, and if it's correct. So, the tiebreaker question is not a multiple choice. It generally isn't. Again, it's June 18th. The year was 1976. Born today in Ada, Oklahoma, is this country music superstar. His first Billboard country #1 hit was called Austin, and it's been followed by 27 more #1 hits, 17 of them consecutive. His album titles include Pure BS and Startin' Fires, and he's been a coach on NBC's The Voice for all of its 21 seasons. Name this member of the Grand Ole Opry.
No, I can't remember his name.
Okay, Leslie's written something.
All right.
David's writing.
Yeah.
Aideen's possibly writing her website.
No, I'm thinking. What's his name?
You have to turn in your Grand Old Opry button if you don't get this one.
Oh no, I'm going to, my father would be so ashamed of.
That's right, because he
I doubt
did
that,
a whole music.
ever.
The Chieftains did an album with country music musicians. I don't know if this person was
Yes.
on.
No, he wasn't. Oh God, I want his name.
I'm going to read the question again, and I will say, since this doesn't matter, that there's a very cool clue hidden in this question, in the clue. There's a clue in there. Born today in Ada, Oklahoma, is this country music superstar. His first Billboard country #1 hit was called Austin, and it's been followed by 27 more #1 hits, 17 of them consecutive. His album titles include Pure BS, Startin' Fires, and he's been a coach on NBC's The Voice for all of its 21 seasons. Name this member of the Grand Ole Opry. Okay, last chance to write something down.
I don't know. I can't remember his name, but I'll put in somebody else's name.
Okay. Once you're finished writing, I'll read the question one more time. I'll give a 3, 2, 1 countdown, and we will finish the game. Are you ready? Are you all ready, folks? One more time. June 18th, 1976. Born today, this country music superstar. His first Billboard country #1 hit was called Austin. He had 27 more #1 hits, 17 of them consecutive. His album titles include Pure BS and Startin' Fires, and he's been a coach on NBC's The Voice for 21 seasons. Name this member of the Grand Ole Opry. 3, 2, 1. I see. Oh, wow. Well done to David Sheward and to Leslie Hoban Blake. It is, in fact, Blake Shelton, Pure BS. Blake Shelton. I get it, BS?
Yeah, I got it.
You got it.
Oh,
Tim McGraw, what'd you say? Tim McGraw? Not, I'm certainly a good
I'm
kid.
an idiot.
No, you just don't watch the show in all likelihood.
But well,
But I do like Blake Shelton. I love Blake Shelton and I love country music, but
He speaks very highly of you, Aedin.
I bet he does.
well.
But I don't watch TV, so I don't.
Hold on, I'm sorry. Wait, one second.
When would you have time with 2 shows a day and, you know?
Yeah, I just heard from the Pulitzer Committee, and that's
Yeah.
not going to happen for you, Aedin. It's just,
No, it's not going to happen. I know.
But you get bragging rights on the show.
Oh, Aedin. So, I'm sorry, what was that, Leslie? What?
She gets bragging rights about winning
Yes,
today.
bragging rights, and she gets a Drama Desk nomination. We know.
I didn't win. I lost miserably.
No, you won the
No,
game.
no, you won.
You won the actual game of the today yesterday quiz today, and we invite you. We would love to have you back in future weeks and months to play with us.
Oh, I love this. This has been great fun. We should do this every day.
Aedin, if I get to go to see the show, on the off chance that I get to go to see the show, that I actually leave my apartment, drinks around the corner on 7th Avenue?
Absolutely.
Okay, you got it.
I just want to let you guys know that the Irish Rep have a very stringent and quite right. They have a really good COVID protection policies in place for audience members. You have to bring your ID, show your vaccination.
You know, I went. The last thing I saw there was The Touch of the Poet, but I stopped going. The minute the COVID numbers went up, I stopped again, and now they're going down again. So I just might do it.
And I will say, when I went, they made me wear a condom. So they are.
I bet they did. I bet they
Over
did.
his head. You have no idea how awkward that was for breathing purposes.
It's not easy. It's not easy, but we leave. It's in the smaller theater, and they leave the air conditioning on, like really.
Yeah.
cold.
Yeah, no, it's
And
difficult.
it's quite well spaced out. I'm really proud of them. They take great precautions.
Now let's remind the audience. Yeah, sorry. Yeah.
I was just going to say, I'm not the wimp I sound like. The other 2 guys know that I have various health issues, so that it's actually, I'm not supposed to go. It's that simple. So,
Yeah,
you
no.
know.
And just you take care of yourself.
Apologize, Les. Yeah, yeah.
Oh, okay, well, but I do feel stupid when everybody else is going and, you know, doing what they're supposed to
Leslie,
do.
don't.
No.
It is
You don't take.
it's a disease. You know?
Yeah, don't take any risks.
Except to see
That's it.
the show. And
Except
you
to
don't
see-
have to go to the theater
You
again.
know what,
in life, but
Aedin,
go
I'm putting that at the very top of the list of what I want to see if I go back.
There you go.
When is your run ending? Just to give it one more plug.
July 18th. It
Oh,
runs,
that's a month from now. Wow.
Yes.
Okay, there's a very good chance
Yeah.
in that case.
and it's at the Irish Repertory Theatre, and it's Reflections of Molly Bloom. And I have
Got
to say, I want to encourage women and women of all ages. I've been really surprised. You never know like what demographic are going to really love something. And it always surprises me because I've never thought that a woman of a certain age sharing her experiences and, journeying to find purpose in life, which is the theme of this interpretation of this adaptation. And would appeal to a younger female audience or a younger audience. But young women from age 16 upwards are they hang about outside afterwards saying thank you. And, they go then and read Ulysses, and it's extraordinary. They love this character. They love this woman and her experiences. They really do. It's phenomenal. So I'd like to encourage. It's very much a women's piece.
I think that's the sweetest thing. That's really wonderful. Good on you, as they say.
I
Yes.
only wish young women watch this show so that you'd be actually talking to them. Although our audience is like 78 plus and incarcerated.
Well, all women, but I love the fact that young girls as well are just, drawn to it.
Now remember, the name of the show that Aedin is talking about is Yes! Reflections on Molly Bloom, is at the Irish Repertory Theatre. From that, you can see her this week. You can see her literally in like 2 hours at Irish Repertory Theatre on West 22nd Street, just off 6th Avenue. It's a wonderful theater. If you, well, yes, well, go buy tickets. Go, Leslie. put on 2 masks, go this afternoon. I'm kidding. Okay, don't. But Leslie, you can see her if you go to her and Charlie Gross's website, Two on the Aisle, where they collaborate on a theater review program. It's a theater interview program.
Well, you can see it on YouTube or you can see it on MNN Network, either way.
MNN.org is Manhattan Neighborhood Network. It's the public access channel of New York City.
Right.
Leslie, do you have a new
We have a
program?
new show coming up, which is a compilation of our last 3 postings, which is it's for the last 4, which is the last things I saw. Mr. Saturday Night, The Strange Loop, POTUS, and How I Learned to Drive. Those 4 are up, and those 4, we put them up singly, but we put them together to form a show. So those 4 make the show that's on MNN.
So you can watch them on MNN, but anytime you can go to the YouTube channel, Two on the Aisle, and watch the whole show. It's called Two on the Aisle. Now, David Sheward, you write theater reviews for theaterlife.com and culturaldaily.com. What have you reviewed this week?
Well, I have a review of The Bedwetter, Sarah Silverman's musical, autobiographical musical about her traumatic childhood, which she wrote with Josh Harmon, who just did win a Drama Desk for his play, A Prayer for the French Republic. And you were there in the audience when I was there.
Yeah, and then you avoided me. So I'm like, well, we're friends on here. And then you were on the phone. It's like, okay.
I was perfectly civil. We were in the line for the bathroom.
Yeah, but it wasn't a place where we could hug and stuff. And yeah.
Is there a protocol for men standing on the line not to talk to each other or something?
Yeah.
I don't know.
It's
Never having stood on the line for
allowed
the men's room, I don't know.
the men's room there because
Yeah, it was weird. It was a gender whatever. So
Yeah,
you're trying to
gender whatever, and I have no problem with women using the men's room. I don't care. It's fine. A biological or
Thank you very
otherwise.
much. I thank
I have a
you very
problem when
much.
they use the urinal.
too.
I find that
Yeah.
disturbing. But
Um,
what did you think of the Bedwetter, real quick, David Sheward? I enjoyed it. I think it has problems, but I enjoyed it.
I liked it a lot. I did. I'll also have a review of the weird adaptation of The Orchard coming out. On the blog, I have latest Broadway news about what's going on. Top Dog Underdog is going to be revived.
Yes, very exciting.
There'll be an off-Broadway revival of A Raisin in the Sun, directed by Robert O'Hara, who's very unconventional. So that should be very interesting in the fall. I was sort of tying together that Susan Laurie Parks and Lorraine Hansberry are getting a lot of productions.
Right.
Hansberry's going to be a character in a play about James Baldwin and William F. Buckley at the Public. And I also did a separate blog on all of the winners of and nominees of all the acting awards, sort of listed together as to like who won what, who's nominated for what.
Cool. And that's all at your blog. It's called The David Desk. The David, because you can't. It's not like .org or .com. You have to go sort of search for it. The David Desk.
Yes.
But David Sheward, Leslie Hoban Blake, Aedin Moloney, the winner, our champion this week. It has been an absolute joy to have you all, of course, in the Daverhood doing the Dave's Gone By show. You're gonna do like the newlyweds. Which show did this with the
The
kisses?
dating game.
Dinah Shore did it. I don't know who else did it.
Well, they did it at the dating game also.
So
Oh,
thank you
you're
all so
right,
much.
the
Keep throwing
dating
kisses because I got to
They all
remove you
stood
one by
together
one.
and did it together. Right.
Mazel tov on your show, Aedin. And we
Thank
hope to see back
you.
very soon.
See you soon. Come and see us. Bye.
Bye.
There goes Aedin. And now David Waving. Have a great one, Dave. Thank you again. See you next
David
week.
Waving, there's a title. I like
And
that. David Waving.
Leslie over. Keep waving, Leslie. Have a great week.
Okay.
See you soon. And that's still me. I'm still here. We're doing the last parts of this episode of Dave's Gone By with me, Dave Lefkowitz, my wonderful wife, Joyce, and always great to have you Saturday mornings from 9 until noon or thereabouts. Remember to find out more about this program at our website, davesgoneby.com, and also on this Facebook page that you're looking at. We talked about the archives before. Don't forget, you can just scroll down Facebook and watch our last 4 years of videos just right here on this page. But if you want the videos and the audios going all the way back for almost 20 years, go to davesgoneby.com, archive.org, or for the audio only, castbox.fm. Well, we have one more segment to do for you on this Saturday, June 18th, 2022. One more piece of business before we let you go for the week, and it has to do with, well, we've got the poem, the limerick, the Colorado Limerick. I know, I apologize in advance. The Colorado Limerick of the Damned is going to be coming at you, but before we get to that, I do want to pay tribute to what we call the Friends of the Daverhood. These are people who have been on the show, like Aedin Moloney, a brand new friend, or our old friends David Sheward and Leslie Blake. They've been on the show maybe a very long time ago. What are they up to now? And we like to let you know because they're our family, our friends. So in terms of Friends of the Daverhood, let me know, I will let you know what's going on. For example, go read a new article by our friend Iris Dorbian. She did a piece on Broadway understudies where she talks to them because, you know, there was that, we talked about this on the Tony show, that they felt they were getting a little bit of the backhand from the Broadway League when they were taking over all these roles during COVID when stars were out. And they kept the shows going, and they felt that they weren't getting credit because people were saying, oh, well, we want to see the real actors instead. And they're like, we are real actors, and we're working our butts off. Anyway, Iris Dorbian did an article all about them, and you can read it in businessinsider.com. It's called Broadway Understudies by Iris Dorbian. And congratulations to Seth Bisson-Hirsch. His musical Love Quirks is going to be opening soon at the AMT Theater, but the cast recording was just released on Apple Music. Find out more at lovequirks.com. Want to give it up also for Tanya Pinkins because today, as a matter of fact, and tomorrow, this weekend, she's going to be at Little Island Park, which is on West 13th Street. I don't even know what that is. I think it's a new park that they're inaugurating, and they're doing it with a review thing called The Big Mix Juneteenth. So Tanya Pinkins today and tomorrow as part of that in Little Island Park. Want to let you know that tomorrow, the Kennedys are part of a tribute to Paul McCartney at City Winery. And then starting tomorrow and running through mid-July in North Hollywood, I don't think this is part of the Hollywood Fringe. I think it's just a sit-down production of Willard Manis's new play, The Funny Man. And I would love to see this. It's all about S.J. Perlman, the comedy writer, the guy who wrote for the Marx Brothers. Right Act Repertory Theater is producing it at the Brick House Theater in North Hollywood, California. On June 21st, Sophie B. Hawkins is going to be part of 50 Rise Out Partners at the LGBT Center in New York. I'm actually not sure where that is. And then June 22nd and June 29th, so it's going to be like this coming weekend, next weekend, Jeff Harner is at the Laurie Beachman Theater. He has a new album out. It's called I Know Things Now. Playing now through the end of June, and I'm sure beyond that, every Saturday night at 5:30, it's Eric Comstock and Barbara Fasano at Birdland. Carl Gottlieb, he wrote a book about writing the script for the Spielberg movie Jaws. Well, that was adapted into a musical called Bruce that is being done at Seattle Rep. And then, let's see, The Minutes, that's still playing on Broadway for another week or two with Austin Pendleton, beloved Austin Pendleton, at Studio 54 on Broadway. Dear Evan Hansen announced that it will be closing in mid-September. So you have just a few more weeks to see Christian Knoll on Broadway at the Music Box Theater in Dear Evan Hansen. Katsura Sunshine's Rakugo is at New World Stages on Thursdays. Come From Away on Broadway through October 2nd only. They're closing too. Come From Away by Irene Sankoff and David Hine at the Schoenfeld Theater. And Larry Kerwin, I'll bet Paradise Square picks up some audience and some box office grosses thanks to Joaquina Kulakongo's performance on the Tony Awards. And Bill T. Jones, congratulations too. He was nominated, I don't think he won, for Best Choreography this year. And Mr. Saturday Night with lyrics by Amanda Green. That is at the Nederlander Theater. That's the Billy Crystal one. Aladdin is at the New Amsterdam Theater. That has music by Alan Menken. Jim Caruso's Cast Party plays every Monday night at Birdland. Go to birdlandjazz.com for tickets. Go to stagebuddy.com for Evan Seplow's website about New York theater nightlife. DrDemento.com for new and old Dr. Demento shows. And for podcasts about upstate New York history, go to bobcudmore.com. Those, my friends, are the friends of the Daverhood. Well, it is almost time to leave Daverhood, but before we do, yes, we've talked about the theater, something so high-toned and so level, and literature, James Joyce, who was a poet. I'm a poet too, and I know it, don't you? Because I have a limerick to share with you, because Joyce and I lived in Colorado for a bunch of years, and I took it upon myself, for really no reason, and certainly no good reason, to write a poem about as many different places in Colorado as I could. They're generally raunchy, evil, terrible, horrible, reprehensible. We call them Colorado limericks of the damned.
A limerick is a comic verse of 5 lines, in which lines 1, 2, and 5 will end with words that rhyme. And likewise, verses 3 and 4 also end with words that rhyme. So this is a limerick. Rocky Mountain, Colorado, Colorado.
Yes, Colorado, Rago, it is. Rocky Mountain High we get with our Colorado limerick of the damned. And this time we go to Battlement, Mesa. Battlement, Mesa in Colorado. And let me tell you a little bit about Battlement, Mesa. The motto is the Colorado Dream. It's got a population a bit under 5,000 people in western central Colorado, and it's basically a community, almost a planned one, of subdivisions for families and retirees. They get pretty hot summers and really cold winters, but, as their official website says, our back door is the great Colorado outdoors. I'm not even going to go there, but biking, skiing, trails, kayaking, fishing in the Colorado River. And it was founded as a community for the oil industry. And it's next to a town called Parachute. So I don't even know what that means either. The local schoolhouse, which hadn't been used since the 1940s, is restored. It looks beautiful, and it's on the National Historic Registry of places that you can't touch. So Battlement Mesa sounds like a very, very cool place, except in this poem, our Colorado limerick of the damned. A student from Battlement Mesa would chew on her pencil eraser. The teacher said, "Jen, don't do that again," and punched her real hard in the face up. Please send your comments and complaints to davesgoneby@aol.com. davesgoneby@aol.com. You can also check my Twitter feed, Radio Dave 2, Radio Dave, the number 2. And by the way, I also want to thank and point you towards Rabbi Saul Solomon, founder and spiritual leader of Temple Sons of Bitches in Great Neck, New York. He was kind enough and lucky enough to do the interview with Aedin Moloney earlier in the show. Rabbi Saul's website is shalomdammit.com. Shalom, DAMMIT.com. You can read his rabbinical reflections there, watch his stage show there, and see episodes of his hilarious TV show, all of them at shalomdammit.com. Do please check that out. Well, that just about concludes this 854th episode of Dave's Gone By. I want to thank one more time David and Leslie and Aedin and Rabbi Saul and my darling and wonderful wife, Joyce. Next week, next Saturday morning, June 25th, I believe, is that 5 or 6? Got to start wearing glasses. June 25th, it will be Tony Sportiello joining us in the Daverhood. Tony's a longtime friend and acquaintance who has a big news to talk about because he is very much a part of a brand new off-Broadway theater opening on West 45th Street. It used to be called the 45th Street Theater. Ken Davenport had it for a while and called it the Davenport Theater. Now it's the AMT Theater, named for the guy who bought it. His name is Al Tapper. He's been on this program a few years ago, but now Tony Sportiello is going to be making some more of the artistic direction decisions for the AMT Theater off Broadway. And so Tony He's also a playwright. We'll be having him in the Daverhood next week on the show. And coming up in 2 or 3 weeks, Jen Maxfield, the local TV news reporter who's written a really good book about doing local journalism and what that really means. You just keep checking davesgoneby.com, keep checking the Facebook page to know what's going on Dave's Gone By, to share with people, to tell people about this show so that we get more and more people watching us, enjoying us, and interacting in the Daverhood. Hon, is there anything we need to mention or talk about? Or
Mary really enjoyed the show. She put a lot of good comments.
Well, thank you so much, Mary. Thank you to all of you. Whether you comment or not, email me. You can message me here if you're a friend on Facebook, or post under the show. I don't necessarily get to respond to everybody, but I certainly read everything and take what you say into consideration. And what else? What else can I tell you? Oh! Instead of going out with our usual, I'm waiting for the chance to kick back after the show and sip some of this cocktail. But we'll end this Fakakta show not with our usual ending, but I'm going to share screen on you.
Oh no.
Because one of our very, very long-time friends, a fellow named Art Paul Schlosser, has been a Wisconsin singer-songwriter. If you've listened to the Dr. Demento show, you've heard several of his songs, including the classic Have a Peanut Butter Sandwich. Well, Art writes and sings and records a lot of new songs, probably 100 a year or more. He's just a font of these delightful, quirky, weird novelty songs. And he's got another one, and this one, oh boy, we're super excited about this one. Ladies and I'm going to open this. I'm going to make this big, and we're going to go out with this. Yes! Oh, I can't make this any bigger, can I? There it goes. Ladies and gentlemen, brand new from Art Paul Schlosser, his TikTok video. That's him with one of those special filter things, singing the Potato Song. Yes, Art Paul goes punk and potato.
I'm a potato, fry me when you can. I'm a potato, fry me when you can. I'll be so delicious, you'll fry me again and again. I'm a potato, mash me if you will. I'm a potato, mash me if you will. But I still love you, yeah, I love you even still. I'm a potato, fry me if you can. I'm a potato, fry me if you can. Be so delicious, you wanna fry me again and again and again.
Yeah. There's really nothing more to say. Have a great week. I'll see you next week in Gone By.